My parents disapproved of my sister's relationship, and it's tearing the family apart.
Keep the family together?
Yeah, trigger warning, homophobia. So my 21 female sister is not accepted by my 29 male parents for being attracted to the same gender. For some context, my little sister is a sapphic. Our family does not support her decisions, but I don't give an F who she sleeps with. When she came out, she was distanced from the family, but we started talking again after finding out our father is passing away. By the way, this comes from Throwaway, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So after things in the family were rocky for a long time, we decided to all get together at my parents' house. My dad said he wanted to put all the drama and bickering aside, and if we have a problem with each other, we can wait until he passes. Everyone agrees, including my sister, so I was expecting to have a nice family barbecue. My family wanted to meet my sister's girlfriend and insisted that she be brought over. We were all excited to meet her. My sister's girlfriend seemed like a nice girl, but she was very standoffish. She kept to herself and didn't speak much to my parents and me. For the most part, she was glued to my sister, and this caused some awkward silence. I started asking about their relationship. How did they meet? How long have they been together? And I even joked around about if she hurt my sister, blah, blah, blah. My parents started acting stranger by each question. I asked my mom what was wrong, and her response is, "This isn't right." I could tell my sister and her girlfriend were uncomfortable, and my dad tried to calm my mom down. My sister, probably fed up with being treated like crap for the last few years, spoke up and asked my parents what was the point of inviting them if she wasn't going to be okay with seeing them together. This caused my mother to explode with anger because she felt like my sister was being disrespectful. My mother goes on to say a lot of other things that I'm not going to say because I'll be banned, and my sister started to cry and hyperventilate. Her girlfriend starts to comfort her and tries to get her to calm down, and this causes my mom to tell her that if you're going to be dramatic and act like a child, you need to leave. You're upsetting your father. Before my sister could respond, her girlfriend is grabbing their things and taking my sister to the car. I tried to rationalize this whole situation with my parents. They were no use. They thought she was putting on a show in front of her girlfriend to make them look bad. They proceeded to say that they're allowed to be uncomfortable and feel differently than her. And I explained to them that this is who she loves. No one has to agree with it, but we should still love her. I've tried talking to my sister about the whole situation, and apparently I defend our parents too much. I told her that our parents don't have to agree with her relationship, but they should. She told me I'm being an a-hole for expecting her to pretend to be someone else just because our dad is passing away. Am I the a-hole? Reddit says a-hole. So some relevant comments though. Comment says, not the a-hole. Have you considered getting lost at sea for about 30 years so you don't have to talk to your family anymore? Seems like the best solution to me. OP responds, I'm sure if my father passes, we will go no contact with my sister again. Everything was okay until she came back around. I support a relationship and wish her the best, but I can't change the way the parents see her. Bishop God dang you info, can you tell us all the horrible crap your mom said? Because if it's as bigoted and vicious as I think it is, you're definitely the a-hole for not defending her. They set a trap and she walked right into it. Defend your sister. OP responds, I don't think saying what she said would do any justice. It's probably just as vicious as you think, even more if I'm being honest. I should have defended my sister instead of trying to keep the peace with our parents, and I see that very clearly now. Strangled in Moonlight says, dude, when you go around known bigots, you warn any LGBTQ plus people so they aren't blindsided and cannot attend if they can't handle bigotry and can harden their hearts against the cruelty they experience. Your parents would have been clowns even if she hadn't been standoffish because they are bigots. Your sister didn't start drama. She prepared her girlfriend accordingly. Just like you'd prepare your dates if your dad liked to pinch your girlfriend's butts. That's what you do.
Who are these dads?
What?
Where are they?
Is that a thing?
I think it's just like I envision just the crazy uncle or something.
Yeah,
Or like,
yeah.
Not the crazy uncle, but yeah, the skeevy uncle, you know?
Opie responds, first of all, my dad wouldn't do that. Second, I understand her telling her girlfriend don't accept her before coming. I'm sure she's known for a while. It's just hard for me to believe that all the drama with the hyperventilating sobbing was real, especially if she's known for years that our parents feel this way. The situation is so bad. Why put yourself through it? I'm starting to agree that maybe it was for attention, because why else would she be so eager to argue with her mom about her spicy relatedity? I don't get it. I'm generally starting to believe that she put on a show for her girlfriend and her girlfriend fell for it.
Putting on a show, she's crying because she's upset that her mom is hating her. She probably wants to connect with her dad, you know, because he's passing away. And like, dude.
All right. I feel like the more I read,
Yes.
the more I feel I am less on the side of OP.
Yeah.
I'm less on the side.
I think maybe OP, like thinking back to what you said before, is like, I don't care who she sleeps with. It's kind of that.
It's giving like, they can have whatever lifestyle they want. Just don't have it anywhere near me.
Yeah,
Not my damn backyard.
It kind of seems like that.
Yeah.
And the fact that he has like seemingly no empathy for what she's going through, like crying for attention.
Katie says, your mother said horrible things to your sister and her girlfriend that you can't type them out on effing Reddit, and you think your sister was faking being upset about that? And OP responds, I think the hyperventilating and sobbing was very dramatic. I understand her being upset for sure, but my dad didn't deserve the drama. The next Spot 77 says, your sister deserved the insults? And OP responds, not at all. I don't agree with my parents' opinions, but I do think it's uncomfortable to have to sit in silence for 2 minutes watching your sister cry and her girlfriend, a stranger, whisper sweet nothings to her. All while my mother is still angry and my dad is upset. And M. Brooka says, oh, well, you were uncomfortable for 2 minutes. That makes it all different. Your sister, who has endured a lifetime of abuse from her family, had an emotional breakdown, and the only one who came to her aid was her girlfriend. Not you, of course, because just watching it was so uncomfortable. You're the a-hole. And Opie responds, I understand and emphasize that this has been hard for her. I don't think she deserves to feel bombarded for I'm very happy for her that she's in what seems to be a healthy relationship with another loving woman. Her girlfriend comforting her wasn't the problem. It was the timing, and taking her away from our family only made it worse. Her and her girlfriend made my father's probably last family event about them and my sister feeling excluded. If you have never lost a parent, you won't understand how frustrating this is. I really hope my sister heals either way and finds a way to manage her panic attacks. And we do an update.
I mean, again, like, bro doesn't get it.
After receiving so much backlash from this post, I realized that I wasn't completely innocent in this situation.
Learnings?
Are we
going to grow?
Learnings. I want growth. I called my sister to apologize, to try to talk through things. I told her about the post I made despite wanting to keep this away from my family, and said that a lot of people explained to me how I'm being harmful and hurting her. I wanted her to see that I'm talking to some people who have been in a similar situation to her, and I thought she would see this as a sign that I'm trying for her. I feel like, I don't know, that could go both ways. It's like, oh, like, hey, I'm trying. I just dished our dirty laundry out to millions of internet strangers.
Yeah. I think we might be on a slippery path to growth where it's like, Opie's probably going to stumble and slip and fall, but I think there could be budding potential towards the
I think
right
there's
direction.
budding potential, but I think this might it's going to be rocky.
A little slippery.
She got really upset that I didn't come to her instead of the internet, but I told her I felt like I had no choice. Our parents wouldn't listen to me. She wouldn't listen to me. And the only people who have been are strangers online. I explained that I got a lot of advice on how I can support her from other people, a part of her community.
That's good.
That's good.
I'm curious to see.
I'm feeling the growth.
Oh, God. Pain is growth.
Pain is growth. My sister told me I had no right to talk about her business online without consulting her, even if it's anonymous. She wanted to see the post. I assumed that she saw some of my comments I made when I was being defensive and immature, and in hindsight, I should have deleted them before agreeing to send her post. She started to cry and told me that we've always made her feel like a burden on her family for things she can't help, being sapphic, having a panic disorder, and other things that I won't share out of respect for her. She went on to say some other things. One of the things that she always said was that you could listen to full episodes with stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app and search OK Storytime. And there's more to this story. What do we think about this bumbling growth?
I mean, I think the biggest thing that I saw here that gave me hope was talking to other people in the community. I think that is going to help him understand and actually see what is to be done here.
I apologize for making her uncomfortable and making her feel like a burden. I also told her that I love her and nothing will change that. Before I had the chance to say more, her girlfriend took the phone and told me that I needed to leave my sister alone. She said that I can't contact my sister until she's ready to talk to me. Then she hung up. It was really heartbreaking to hear my sister cry over something that I had good intentions for. I texted her privately and asked if she wanted me to take the post down, and she told me that she doesn't care. She just wants to be left alone. And the relevant comments, OP and why the post is deleted. Please don't try to explain my sister's feelings to me. She knows about the post. She's seen my comments, and she said she didn't care if it stayed up or not. If she's reading it, which is more than likely, that's her choice. I haven't defended my parents since I talked to my sister. I haven't deleted this or the comments because every now and then someone actually gives good advice instead of arguing with me about something they know nothing about. And that is where the story ends. My sister demands my furniture as a thank you for letting me live with them.
Sit down, but not on Opie's furniture. 28 months ago, I moved into my sister and brother-in-law's house. I was leaving a highly harmful marriage that had turned life-threateningly physical. Oof. I was leaving a hospital stay and needed somewhere to go pronto. Out of desperation, I moved in with them. I say out of desperation because in any other situation, I would have chosen living in my car. They are so awful. By the way, this comes from Sufficient Spite. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OK Storytime subreddit. So anyway, while I was still in the hospital, we hashed out a bit of the details, which included the following. 1 bedroom to use, a shared bathroom with the kids. I furnish said bedroom and pay for my own toiletries, food, etc., and pay $1,400 rent each month. Pay half the utilities, roughly $500 a month. Street parking, not great, I know. I will reiterate, I was desperate, and I agreed to move in. I had half a house's worth of things, which included my bed, couch, dining room table, and I furnished my bedroom. I paid for movers. I bought toiletries and food for myself. I was told I could use the fridge in the garage for all my perishable food. The first month there, they added a few new things to my contract. So already OP's paying like close to $2,000 a month.
I'm just curious, and maybe we'll get full context later. I'm curious why we're not deploying this $2,000 in rent somewhere else.
Yeah,
because that is
money.
a good chunk of money to be able to rent something, even in like a big city.
Maybe their credit isn't good. That could be it, something like that. But
maybe.
The first month in this new place with terms that are already fit like a lot.
Yes.
They added a few new things to my contract. Watch the kids twice a month.
Okay.
Make dinner twice a week.
Huh?
No friends allowed over.
Oh my God.
Ever. An 8 p.m. curfew. I was 30 years old. I was not a teenager or child. I disagreed with the last 2 stipulations, but was told to pack my things and get out when I said no. So I wound up sticking to them as best I could. I work in the medical field and have 24-hour shifts sometimes, and also frequently work overtime. However, I'm usually scheduled 5 a.m. to 5 p.m. 5 days a week, so I don't have to cover a shift or have mandatory overtime. Also, within the first month of living there, I found that although I was invited by them to move in, I wasn't actually welcome, which is kind of what we're seeing in this contract, you know?
Yeah.
Like this contract is, even the first contract was a lot for someone that, supposedly our family.
Yes.
But then to add all of these like cooking and
taking care of the I'm sorry, no landlord in their right mind is like, okay, so on this line item, you'll see how many times you need to babysit my toddler.
maybe give me $500 off rent, and then maybe I'll do it.
Maybe that, but it's like Opie's already paying a lot.
Yeah, no, this is a little ridiculous.
A lot.
Well, although I was invited by them to move in, I wasn't actually welcome. My brother-in-law is kind of a whiny little kid and would go to my sister and complain about things that I did not, and complain about things I did that he didn't like. Nothing serious, mostly things like washing the dishes too loudly, parking too close to the grass. My sister would come and lecture me about being a good guest. A few other things I want to state because I need to vent so badly. My sister is a stay-at-home mom. They have 3 kids and 1 on the way. Her kids are in daycare from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. every day of the week since they were 3 months old. My brother-in-law takes them in on his way into work and picks them up after he has to come home and has relaxed for a while. They usually come home, eat dinner, take a bath, and go to bed.
So she's not a stay-at-home mom. She just stays at home.
Yeah.
No, exactly. She stays at home.
She's a stay-at-home. She's
Not
delegating.
with the kids.
She's delegating.
Yeah, she's
delegating, you know?
outsourcing her entire parenting.
On Saturdays, twice a month, I watch them all day while they are out doing random errands. The other 2 Saturdays, their paternal grandparents watch them as my parents live a state away. Sunday is the only day they actually watch them.
Dude. And they're still trying to get OP to watch them when OP's already paying $2,000.
They have completely just shucked their kids away.
Dude.
Crazy.
Why have kids?
I'm not saying stay-at-home parents are useless or anything, but if you aren't doing anything all day but browsing Amazon, Facebook, and Instagram while someone else cares for your children, Don't call yourself a stay-at-home parent.
Yep.
She does clean, make breakfast, and give them baths, but that is it. They both claim they have financial issues, but eat out almost every meal.
She serves the same function as a wee spa. She cleans.
Oh, she just
gives them baths.
yeah. She runs a spa for her children for 2 hours.
Yeah.
But way less than Wii Spa. Wii Spa is 24 hours.
Oh no, she's strict 1 hour limit.
Yeah, 1 hour limit.
She's a 1 hour Wii Spa.
Yeah. Usually the 2 dinners I make weekly are the only homemade meals, as breakfast is usually something frozen, tossed in the toaster. They eat out way more than people with financial issues should. They have 4 vehicles, 2 minivans, an SUV, and a sports car exclusively for my brother-in-law. They have a 3-car garage and a huge driveway. But I'm not allowed to park in the driveway. I have to park on the street, a foot from the curb, away from the driveway, mailbox, storm drain, and flower beds. I park almost in front of their neighbor's house. I'm sorry. I'm getting off track.
I don't blame you. I would be.
Dude, I would be pissed.
Wow.
Oh, my goodness.
Worst setup ever.
Anyway, about a year ago, my sister and brother-in-law came to me and asked if they could use my dining room table because theirs was gouged and had to be repaired. I agreed. Better than it just sitting in a storage unit, I thought. While we were getting the table, they saw my couch and asked if they could use that in their living room because it was bigger. I agreed as well. I see you. Put I see you in the chat if you know where this is going.
Here we go.
And as frustrating as it was living with these clowns, I wasn't rushing to leave. I was saving up money, paying off student loans, and getting my divorce finalized. Well, in August of 2019, everything blew up. I first learned that their mortgage payment was $2,100 a month.
OP is paying their mortgage. Honeybee85 says she doesn't have kids. She has Tamagotchis.
That's so funny.
That's amazing.
That's so funny. I was told I was paying half the mortgage. When I confronted them about this, I was somehow blamed for the expenses they have for the kids. They attempted to guilt trip me into continuing to pay $1,400 for a single room. I told them I agreed to half, so I would pay half next month. They threw a fit and said they needed me to pay $1,400. Otherwise, they would lose the house. I wrote them a check the following month for $1,050. I also asked to see the utility bills before I paid. They became angry and refused. Yeah, they're definitely $500 for utilities seems like a lot.
That's crazy.
They said I would steal their information and take advantage of them. I feel like someone else is taking advantage of someone else. Yep. I pointed out that in our relationship, they're the only ones known for taking advantage of the other. They are very reluctant to show me the utility bills for the previous month. I paid for all of them, even though I was told I was only paying half. I was told they were billed monthly for trash and water when they were actually billed bi-monthly. After all of this, I began looking for a new place and realized that I could afford a house on my own. I worked with a realtor and found a nice 3-bed, 2-bath in a great neighborhood closer to my work. I closed on the house the second week of December and moved in a couple of weeks. I just don't understand how OP didn't see that solution earlier.
Yeah, I don't want to hate, and we haven't gotten the reason yet, but I'm like, why would we, like, 3-bed, OP now has 3 bedrooms themselves, closer to work. It's
and it's not like, $1,400 is a decent deal, but it's not like amazing. It's like maybe a good deal for somewhere like Santa Monica.
Yeah.
But for, like other places, like.
Yeah. I know people who rent whole houses for $2,000.
Yeah.
In Florida.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. I feel like you could easily like find something that would work. But I told my sister and brother-in-law when I made an offer, and then again when I closed, that I was moving out, and they've asked me to leave my bed, dining room table, and couch for them. I told them no, but they are insisting that I should do it as a thank you. I mentioned the fact that they have been taking money from me left and right, and that not taking them to court was my thank you. But they are still insisting. They are also expecting me to still watch their kids twice a month. Crazy.
Dude.
I love my niece and nephews to death, despite their parents basically ditching them every day. They're very sweet, playful, and smart kids, but I want to stay far away from their parents as possible for a good long while. Well, I'm off to work today visiting my friend, and I got a text from my sister asking if I was going to pay rent for February. I told her I would be gone by then, so absolutely not.
Good.
She asked again if I would leave my furniture. I said no. And she told me they had sold their couch and table and didn't have the money to buy new ones. Then I
Sell one of your 5,000 cars.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Then I saw a post on Facebook from a day ago where my sister announced they were going to Disney World for the second time in 6 months.
Disney World is so expensive.
So expensive.
Oh, these people give me a migraine.
In the comments of this post, get this is crazy.
Here we go.
She jokes to a friend who asked how they can afford this all. And she said, all she needs is a stupid roommate with money to burn. Oh my God.
Yeah,
Wow.
I want to sue you now.
Wow.
That
Oh.
is crazy.
Then when the same friend asks if I'm her sister, she says she's very slow. She has no idea how much things cost. She'll pay anything. I screenshotted this, sent it to her. It says she's read the text, but she hasn't responded. However, she's posted a cryptic update a few minutes later that says, everyone who knows me knows that family is very important to me. I bend over backwards to make their life more enriched and easier. I basically gave them their success. I pulled them away from death, jumped in front of bullets for them, and shielded them from the harsh real world, and they show no gratitude. Don't let people into your life who are just going to use you and throw your failures in your face. It's unfortunate that some of these people are blood. After years of caring for you and placing you on a pedestal, I'm done. You broke me. Cry me a river. Cry me a freaking river.
Like,
What is this cryptic thing? Like where she's the victim for making fun of OP.
it's like that because that message was coming from the sister.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like it's just a classic case of like they're trying to, as soon as they can't manipulate and like get all these things from you, they're gonna try to they're gonna create some story to become a victim and blah 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 blah.
I need advice on how to handle this because I am very emotional right now. I would love to do a giant expose on them and tag all their friends and family, showing how fake and greedy they are as they both make themselves look extremely different on their social media profiles. But I know I need to be an adult. Is there any way I can destroy them without being petty and childish? Also, to state for reference, they ate my food regularly and shopped my groceries like it was theirs. They also used my toiletries and took things like my pillows and blankets from my room. Also, I rode with them to a movie one single time, a 10-minute drive from their house, and they wanted me to pay for a tank of gas as well as snacks for them and their kids at the movies. I paid for my own ticket. They insisted I ride with them. They also asked for my tax return last year. I never got a clear answer why. It was hardly anything, but they asked for it. I didn't give it to them. Also, I received no assistance from them besides them allowing me to stay at the house, literally nothing else. By the way, if you want assistance from us, you should listen to full episodes of stories just like this. Go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app and search OK Storytime. There's another relevant update. But man, are these people taking advantage of OP?
To the billionth degree.
Yeah.
And I'm glad at least OP's out of it and like
Or getting out of it. I don't know. It feels,
getting out of
it feels like there's still drama there. But at least, getting out of the house.
Yes, that's important. That's important.
Should OP do anything with all this? stuff?
I
Like,
mean,
OP try to like sue or something.
Big picture, the best revenge is just like living a happy life and enjoying your 3-bedroom, 2-bath house closer to your shorter commute and like all of these things, having friends over, I would go crazy on all of the rules they said you couldn't do.
Agreed.
I mean, honestly, especially depending on the financial situation, on one hand, I'm tempted to just be like, just drop it and move on with your life. On the other hand, I'm like, how much money was this to OP? It seems like if the tax return wasn't that much,
then that's probably
maybe
a lot.
really meaningful.
That's a lot. Yeah.
And
thousands of dollars potentially.
Yeah. So, and also it would kind of like be a twofer of like, one, getting back thousands of dollars, which you would, need. And two, kind of like, showing them like, hey,
they can't get away with this.
You can't like get, because they're going to keep doing that to other people too. So maybe look into it, see what that process will look like.
Well, we got a little bit more. So edits regarding the furniture. What if I buy a brand new couch and table for them? Our thinking is this. It will solve the furniture problem and make me look like a saint. This coming Sunday, they're going to an event at the Recplex. I'll have the couch and table moved out and the new ones moved in. I'll take pictures of them and post them on Facebook, tagging my sister and brother-in-law, and post something like this. Thank you for letting me stay at your house. Now let me help you as you help me. I know you're struggling financially, so I bought you a new table and couch to replace my table and couch when I take them with me. I hope this table and couch fully reflect how grateful I am that you allowed me to stay in your home while I recuperated," or something like that. Forgive me, I am not a writer. Thoughts?
So wait, he's buying them a new?
What? I don't get that. It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah,
I don't think and also like it feels like maybe there's like some like, petty revenge or something there. I don't know if it's worth it.
Yeah, I think probably the best thing is just move on and get out.
Yeah.
And always living like contact and everything as soon as possible. They're just leeching.
Yeah, I don't think it's
leeching.
worth it. And I don't know. I don't know about this plan to get stuff. But that's where that story ends.
That is true.
I married my sister-in-law. My family did not take it well.
Keeping it in the family.
So, to start, I realized my situation is just insane and not normal. Never in a million years would I have imagined ended up in this situation. Okay, backstory. I knew I was into chicks from the moment I was old enough to have a crush. LOL. I am lucky enough that my family were not horrid but monsters or disowned me or anything, but they were not accepting and saw it as a phase. By the way, this comes from Helpful Confusion. If you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OKStorytime subreddit. So I rebelled a lot growing up, and the moment I could, I left home and moved across the country. I still stayed in contact with my family, phone calls, and holidays. My family paid for my school. I don't want it to sound awful. They were just annoying. We never saw eye to eye. My older brother was the only person in my family I was ever close to. He always supported me and was like my best friend. Skip ahead a bit. My brother was my family's perfect son. Oh, he joined the military, met a girl, got married, moved back to our hometown, had 3 kids. Every Sunday, they all went to church together and then had a big family dinner and lived the perfect postcard life. Okay, this was my life growing up.
He literally is like the white picket fence postcard.
We would go to church on Sundays and afterwards have dinner together afterwards.
That is a common trope.
And then my brother was unalived in a car accident. No wasted driver or anything, just someone losing control on ice. And at that time, my life was HE double hockey sticks, and I had been struggling with depression and had a huge, very public failure in my career that I would not be recovering from. I had no money, nowhere to go, and on top of it, losing my brother and only real family I felt I had was the worst. My sister-in-law had been very close before all of this. We would talk on the phone often and hang out during visits. I adored her. After this happened, she suggested I move in with her and the kids and help her out with the kids and the house while she stepped up more in her business. My family hated this. They wanted her to sell her home and the business and move her and the kids in with them. But after a few months, things calmed down a bit. My sister-in-law kept a very close relationship with my family. She felt it was important for the kids as well. I was there and mostly nagged and asked when I was getting a boyfriend because my mom is a stereotype, LOL. Well, this relationship didn't just spark over the bonding of losing my brother or anything. It was very slow. We were like best friends and kind of acted like a little family together. She had told me she was bi and had dated girls in college. Nearly 3 years after we began a romantic relationship, at first, we kept it completely secret. Then once we knew it was serious, we shared it with the kids, who were very accepting, then our friends, but we kept it from our family. Wonder why. We have been together 7 years now. I proposed, and she said yes.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
Wow.
Wow. So this was 3 years after the brother had passed.
They started
Yeah.
being a family, like, hey, let's keep this family going.
That's really sweet.
Wow. The problem, obviously, if you have been following along, my family did not take the news well at all. They have now threatened to disown me if we go with this. And the worst, they have threatened to try and take the kids because we have an unsafe, genetic copy-pasting relationship. She and I are not related by blood.
I was about to say, I think they were saying yes. I think that was yeah.
Wait, so OP and her brother are related by blood.
Yes.
Brother,
Married,
wife,
yeah. So this was
have
her
kids.
sister-in-law.
Kids are related by blood there.
Yes.
Would this be in a way?
No, it wouldn't at all be because it's only when the relationship itself. So she is their aunt, but she will now become their mother.
I know it's strange, but we are just two people who fell in love. We are not allowing them to see the kids now because they said awful things about us and try to get them to say awful things. They are also trying to go after my brother's estate and the house, saying they somehow have the rights to do it. They have been trying to sabotage our wedding. After we sent out the RSVPs and got them back, we had probably 90% of the family cancel because she talked them out of coming. We have already spent the money. We wanted a beautiful big wedding and it's ruined. And I know that it's just things and it doesn't matter, but it still hurts. I wanted that dream wedding and it's gone. My fiance is heartbroken. She felt like they were her family and they just betrayed all of that. She wants to try and talk to them and make them see the light. But honestly, I don't know how or if it's even possible. And we got comments. I, in a million years, would have not seen this ever coming.
Yeah, I think that it could be possible in like years down the line, but certainly I think right now they're very much in their probably like hurts of losing the son is kind of coming back, and then also a little bit of that bigotry surrounding same relationships. So I feel like right now, especially because they're threatening legal action and taking the kids away, I think it's focusing on you guys and making sure that you're all safe and protected.
Anyways, comments. Oh, you're up. If you haven't, have your wedding with the friend and family that you support you at whatever size that turns out to be. Stop wasting your time and energy on trying to make these people see reason. Hopefully, they'll drop the threats when they realize it's not going to get them the outcome they want. And you can decide to either cautiously reconcile with anyone who apologizes on a case-by-case basis, but unless and until that happens, and frankly, I suspect it won't, you need to get out of the idea that you can have the happy, welcoming family experience you want with these people who insist on controlling what that looks like and protect the unit you're building together. Opie says a lot of people have given the lawyer advice. We have briefly spoken to ours about the estate and business. My fiance 100% handles all the business and honestly has just been so upset about it that it has been too difficult to discuss. The lawyer seems slightly concerned that my parents would have some type of legal standing.
That's
Who
concerning.
knows? Sometimes if like, you know, there's like sometimes there's
Yeah.
partners and like they'll have like their parents be like a little bit of a ownership of it in case someone dies or whatever.
But
So
like
that
to
could
be able
a
to take
case.
away from the mom would be crazy. Well, maybe the estate is what they're worried about rather than the kids, because I don't know how much legal, ability they would have to take away the kids from their mom, especially if there's no danger going on in the house. But maybe the estate could be a problem.
Yeah, and plus if they got a good lawyer.
Yeah.
Money matters. They did help my brother start the business and gave him all the money for it. Ooh, they might be looking for their payment back.
Yeah, they're like, we put money into this. We want it back now.
But I was under the impression that they did not own any part of it. The lawyer told us not to discuss it with them at all, and he would look into it on our end and get whatever legal documents my parents are claiming they have. He told us not to worry, but he didn't want to give us anything until he knew more. We haven't discussed the kids with any lawyer yet. We have an incident where my mother and aunt picked up the youngest from school early. My mother was on the list of people who could pick her up at the time. They took her out for ice cream and interrogated her over our relationship, asked if we kissed in front of them, asked if we drank or did substances, and asked how much money we spent and stuff we bought. But as far as I know, dude, this is kind of like, those things that are like you get free coupons where you have to tell us what you bought and how much money you make a year? That's what that sounds like. Sounds like they're going to get that data and sell it to people.
Yeah.
They're just
yeah,
data
they're
sellers.
like, we just have a couple questions. Nothing suspicious going on here.
How many times did they visit Ralph's this week? Okay, once. Okay, how much approximately did they make in groceries? Okay.
We are part of the Christian Science group, but don't worry, we're not Scientologists.
Yeah. Oh, man. Scientologists. But as far as I know, she hasn't contacted CPS. She has only had contact with the kids once after that with us there, and it turned into a huge fight, and she hasn't seen them since. We got an update, and about a fourth of the story left.
Ooh-wee. I think you need to go, like, wherever your kids go, you need to make sure that no one has access but you guys, because you have to make sure that, like, pick up, drop off, your mom is not doing that anymore. She's off the list. And that you talk to the teachers and tell them about the situation.
Dude, the front desk lady. Update. First, I want to say that you are all the most amazing people, and it is inspiring how absolutely kind and beautiful people can be to strangers. Even so, when family isn't. You so touched my now wife in an emotional way that it's truly helped us, and more so her, go through this. And there are no words for how thankful and touched we are. We did get married. It was beautiful, very small ceremony, and we had many great friends that made it truly special. My wife 100% wanted to invite you all, but we couldn't for reasons I will get into below.
Because we're strangers. Can't invite strangers.
Wait, she's gonna get into it below? Why? You don't have to get into this. We were actually able to get several of our deposits back or partly back after explaining the situation. We moved to the location to a friend's property, and a friend's aunt made us our cake for free. Most importantly, I married the woman I love and got to share it with those who truly mattered and loved us. No, my parents were not there. Some extended family was. So the reason I went quiet and took so long to update, well, sadly, my parents did end up doing some worse things. Like truly Satan on earth. Sadistic, some may say. As many suggested, we went, discussed it with a lawyer, and he told us not to discuss it anymore at the time.
He was like, shh, stop talking about it. They'll hear you. The walls.
The devil's always hearing.
Ears.
That it may somehow affect things negatively for us. He actually wanted me to delete the post, and we went through and saved all of our favorite comments as I was prepared to delete, but I obviously didn't do it, lol. I can't go into all the details, wonder why, but things got very, very ugly. But I can say that in the end, everything worked out really well for what it was. My parents came to a semi-senses with the help of the lawyers and never getting any contact with their grandchildren again. They also severed ties with our business and dropped everything. We are in the process of moving 3 hours away so that we won't have to deal with the stress and drama of them and the town and everyone knowing. We are also making some major steps in the business to allow us to do this. My wife and my relationship with my parents, I don't think will ever recover. While they did apologize and make some effort, it's just too much anger and hurt there. They have all been cordial, but there is little to no trust there now. They are not allowed to visit with the children at this time, and maybe in the future supervised or when they're older. They do get a weekly supervised FaceTime. The kids don't truly understand why this is all happening. Heck, I don't fully grasp it. It's just been really hard on them. They don't get why we didn't spend Thanksgiving with grandparents and why we won't see them at Christmas. And by the way, you can see us on any holiday that you make or that is actually real. All you got to go to is your favorite podcast platform, which would be
iHeartRadio, or sometimes Spotify, or sometimes Apple Podcasts.
And search up OK Storytime, and we'll be with you. Hold your hand through any holiday.
We'll be here this Memorial Day.
So, any other thing?
I think that's very fair. You guys are like, it's going to take some time. Yeah, they apologized, but also they sued you. Basically, I think they at least got lawyers involved. Seems like it was very ugly. They were trying to get your children involved, saying nasty things about them. And it seems like only the thought of never seeing the grandkids again and some other legal stuff has gotten them. Yeah, got to them. So it's like, oh, you didn't do it out of love for me. It was because you were going to lose something.
Now you feel it.
Yeah, so that it definitely would take a lot of time and a lot of them apologizing and making, doing the work.
Yeah, it is kind of crazy how much like parents flip as soon as they don't have access to the grandbabies.
It's like, what about your children?
We lost hope in them.
I already had 18 years with them.
They're still hoping the little ones.
Yeah.
I think that's the hardest part in all of it. As much as it hurts me that my parents did this to me and treated me this way, knowing that the kids got hurt sucks. They still love their grandparents, and that is why we are allowing them to still be in their lives somewhat. Anyways, things are truly good though right now. And again, I can't thank you all enough. Just at that time, things were so horrible, and being able to read through the comments with my wife and see her light up and smile, it was beautiful. I seriously credit the friendly, sweet people for helping us get through that. I hope someday I can pay that forward. And that's the end of that story. Huh?
There we go. Seems like it's on the road to, a recovery. Seems like it's good for you and your wife. And
a
your kids.
happy, no contact ending.
My sister refuses to respect my sleep schedule I reached my breaking point.
She needs her beauty sleep, people.
I'll give some background information in bullet points. I am the middle of 3 sisters. This is regarding my younger sister. She got married as a teenager and had 2 children with a bad husband who cheated on her multiple times. Said husband is passing away of cancer. By the way, this comes from user SBWV09. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I am newly married. We were living abroad, but decided to come back for multiple reasons, one of which was to help out both of my sisters, who are essentially single mothers. My husband is a foreign national and has no other family or friends here besides us. My parents practically begged us to live with them until my husband finds a job and we know where we need to live. I'm currently working at a central location, so where my husband finds work would impact where it is feasible to live. We could probably afford to live in an apartment on my salary alone, but it would be tight. Okay, so we've been back in the country for less than a month. Although I was ready to leave my previous situation, I wasn't super thrilled about moving back to small town Bible Belt land, but there were many upsides to it, and I hoped it would balance out the downsides. I should also mention that I am child free, and I have never wanted children. While I do love my nieces and nephews, I don't have patience for young children who misbehave. Nobody really makes my niece and nephew mind their manners. They go wherever in the house they want, do whatever they want to do. They scream at the top of their lungs all the time and are very demanding and generally spoiled. I realize that their parents or caretakers are to blame for this and not them, but even so, my husband and I have spent almost every day that we have been back helping out with those kids. My husband spent hours downloading games that my nephew wanted. We took them out to eat and to the game room, and we watched them for hours every day. Did I mention that my sister supposedly isn't even living here? Out of the 20 or so days we've been back, they have slept over for 10. She always has some reason, like the road she lives up is too slick, or her hot water doesn't work, blah, 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 blah. I realize that it's horrible that her husband and their father is passing away of the big C. I have nothing but compassion for that, but I also feel like she's taking advantage. Her behavior has always been like this. As soon as she had the children, she always called my parents to watch them while she did something. Whenever I was visiting, I haven't lived at home since I was 18. She always tried to guilt me into watching them as well. Like I said, I knew we would be helping with childcare, but it has been almost constant since we got back. And honestly, there is no reason for it. They have school, they have a nanny who babysits them regularly. She just feels like coming here so she can watch TV while my husband and I and my parents run after her children. I should also mention that both my husband and myself are experienced educators, and these children are very maladjusted in terms of behavior and expectations. I had actually hoped that my husband and I could help out with that, and we were already trying to teach them to knock on doors before opening and using indoor voices instead of screaming all the time, etc. Anyway, I have a long commute and my job starts early, so I have to wake up at 5 a.m. on work days. Everyone in the house knows this. Unfortunately, that doesn't stop my sister or my father from bringing the kids upstairs to play at 10, 11, or even 12 at night. They play baseball in my parents' room, slam doors, laugh and scream at the top of their lungs, etc. Needless to say, it is literally impossible for me to sleep if they're upstairs. Since nobody has taught them proper behavior in terms of indoor versus outdoor, there is no such thing as quietly playing with them. Last night, I was at my breaking point. They have been here since Thursday, and I haven't had a good night's sleep that entire time. My husband was frustrated as well, and I felt upset that I had brought him to my country and he had to exist in this way. Earlier that day, I had expressed my frustrations to my mother and asked my sister if they could stay with their nanny that night, but they both brushed me off. My mother's suggestion was to shut yourself up in your bedroom. After being awoken by screams at 11 p.m. on a school night, I was actually in tears from fatigue, anger, and frustration. I texted my sister stating that it was a school night for both myself and the kids and that I had to wake up at 5 a.m. and I thought that it was late for her kids to be up and playing loudly. She didn't bother to reply. After that, I was getting up and my husband asked where I was going. I said I was going to tell my sister exactly what I thought of her. Rude, spoiled, inconsiderate, etc. He asked me to stop and said he would talk to her calmly. He wanted to try to resolve the situation without anger and conflict. W. That's the best way to resolve situations.
Yes, it is.
In the absence of anger and conflict.
Yes. Just wait a sec.
Just peace.
If you feel angry, just like take a second to cool off and then you can talk about it. Best way to go.
The house has thin walls, and the conversation took place in the next room, so I was able to hear it all. My husband had a very calm and non-condescending tone of voice throughout. He literally said, "Sister-in-law, you know that SBWV09 and I are looking for a new place and will move out as soon as we can. Until then, could you please keep the kids downstairs if they're going to be screaming and playing loudly past 10 p.m. because OP has to get her rest for work." I didn't hear a reply and assumed she just walked away to deal with her kids. My husband returned and assumed that it was all okay. What happened next was completely shocking. I'm trying to fall asleep again. It's 11:30 by this time when my phone starts blowing up with texts. My sister wrote, "If you had something to say to me, you should have said it. Don't send your husband to talk to me. He has no right to talk to me like that. You and your husband had better not speak to me or my children ever again. You lost a sister tonight."
You lost a sister? I'm sorry. What?
I didn't reply right away since I didn't check my messages the first few times the phone buzzed. So she sent several replies of, "What? You can't text? What, are you scared of me?" I was very hurt and shocked, but chose to ignore the message. I really needed some sleep and figured she might get over this by herself the next morning. Then my mom started calling my cell phone. I didn't answer because I need sleep. Then she blew up my phone with texts saying that I made my sister cry and I hurt my relationship with her because I allowed my husband to speak to her like that, quote unquote. Again, I heard the entire exchange and he didn't say anything mean or disrespectful to her at all. I'm crying at this point because I'm so hurt, astonished, and frustrated. My husband decides to text my mother saying he was only trying to resolve the situation without anger since I was feeling very hurt and disrespected that I wasn't being allowed to sleep in my own home, which is beside the point that the kids had school the next morning as well. He also reminded them that we came back to help with the kids and spent most of our time here so far doing just that, and that they should realize the sacrifice that I made to help them, and that with everything they ask of us, it was strange that a very simple, reasonable request of ours would be met with hostility. After this, I received a Facebook message from my sister. She had read the message my husband sent my mother. She then proceeded to say the meanest, most cold-hearted things to me. She wrote, "With every intention of hurting me as much as possible, insulting my past mistakes, my spicy-related harmful act experiences, insulting my appearance, etc." So I'm going to pause right here.
Whoa.
What's your playbook in this situation?
Like, what do I do if
what do
she's
you do?
doing this?
Yes, because I have mine, but I would like to know what yours is.
I would probably cry. I don't know. That'd probably be my first thing that I would do. But then I don't know. I've dealt with some people before where they do that. That in conversations or arguments, they just bring up the past and just attack you with it or just try to bring up insults just to get you. And I stopped being friends with them. But this is your family.
Mm-hmm.
Little different. So I honestly don't know what I would do. What would you do?
Here's what I'm doing. Sister texts me. "Oh, that's wild. Well, I'm going to get some sleep."
Okay.
Mom calls me. "Oh, that's wild." Boop, boop. Turning phone off.
Yep.
Sending me texts. Beep, boop. Well, I'm not reading that.
Yep.
I disengage. Disengage.
Smart.
You can only fight if there's two sides. If
True.
you just refuse
That
to
is true.
fight, it's easier said than done. We're
Sure.
emotional creatures, but don't entertain it.
Yeah.
Because it is true. You're watching their kids and they're doing this.
Yeah.
It's just like, I'm going to start opening my door and screaming, "Go downstairs!"
Yeah. Go sleep. Stink bomb to get them out of the upstairs area. That'd probably suck for you, but yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do. Sacrifices.
My sister claimed I was putting up a front to impress my husband. My husband knows me to my core. He knows every true thing about me. We have absolutely no secrets, and he sure as heck knows me better than any of them do. She restated that I had lost a sister that night and that I was passed away to her. Again, this was all over a request that her school-aged children not scream at the top of their lungs at 11 p.m. on a school night. My sister blocked me from Facebook after writing that message. Classy. I then messaged my mom stating that if my sister wanted to remove myself and my husband from their lives, that it was her choice, not mine. I also stated that my mother's words and actions made it clear that they have chosen which daughter they want involved in their lives, and that I would be moving out as soon as we could find an apartment. My general thought is that my sister is being extremely childish and unreasonable, and that I'm actually better off without her in my life. So she never once thanked us for spending several days with her children, including taking them to game rooms and movies and paying for several meals. She just expects everyone around her to do these things for her. And a simple request from my end has apparently led her to believe I'm not worth having in her life anymore. I'm thinking that it's probably better this way, that I don't need these toxic people in my life, even if they are my family. On the other hand, it hurts, Reddit. They are my family. I spent thousands of dollars and a lot of time and stress to bring my husband and myself home to them. If I had known that asking her kids to be quiet would rob me of my parents and sibling, I would have just endured it. Never in my wildest imagination could I have pictured it playing out like this. I've tried to think about if I did actually do something wrong. Maybe it would have been better to have a sisterly fight about it instead of having my husband speak to her calmly, but I'm not sure. Honestly, am I missing something? I've honestly tried to portray the events the way they happened. I'm not trying to paint myself as a saint or anything. I'm not patient with young children, even though I do try to help them. I just feel like I've given a lot to her and those kids already, and all she wants is more. I feel like if I apologize, then she will feel like it is okay to let her children act that way and expect everyone else to accommodate them and their desires. I realize this was extremely long, and I'm very grateful to anyone who reads it through, so what do you think I should do? And there is an edit. I should also mention that my work was canceled at the last minute today due to weather after I arrived at the end of a 40-mile commute, by the way, and that's why I'm around to read replies. Anyway, we have some comments here. If you already have the funds to move out, even if it's a stretch. Find a temporary place.
Yes.
Go to a motel, for God's sake.
Yeah.
Do whatever, but remove yourself. And then they'll go, oh my God, they were taking care of our kids that I have to take care of now.
Yeah, honestly.
That'll be a wake-up call.
Yeah, they'll realize how much they miss you once you're gone.
I wouldn't, she says, you no longer have a sister? Fine. I don't have a sister until you reach out to me and you're like, hey, I was a complete idiot for that. I'm so sorry and I should have appreciated you for what you did.
Yeah.
Until then, it is true that it is your sister and it hurts, but that it is probably better that you don't have this person as like a force holding power over you in your life,
Right.
whether it be emotional or financial or familial or whatever.
Right.
Just like let her take herself out of your life. Yeah, fine. My sister's gone.
Right. Remind me, did they have a conversation in person at all? Or was
So
it
it
just
was-
the text stuff?
OP is like, oh, I'm about to let her have it.
Yeah.
OP's husband goes, let me just talk to her.
Right.
I'll keep it calm.
Right.
Husband talks to her.
Yeah.
And then it's like, how dare you have your husband talk to me?
Yeah.
You're dead to me.
I feel like since this whole blow up, like, oh, you're dead to me thing, like, I think we need another conversation in person. Just being like, okay, well, like, what is actually going on? Like, this isn't, well, I don't apologize because you have nothing to apologize for.
I
But
like that.
just being like, what's going on? What's going on? This
going
isn't what
on?
was meant by it. I'm not sorry by it because it's not what was meant by it, and just
Right.
talk about it in person before you go like no contact or something like that. That's a big jump. But yeah, I mean, at least some time away. I think you could do all of that. Have a conversation, go to a motel, distance yourself, maybe not take care of the kids for a little bit, and then they'll see how they like it.
But we do have some comments here.
All right, let's
Get into
see 'em.
those. Why the heck are young children at that age even up at 11 or 10 p.m.? That's just crazy. Maybe in time they will both come around, but I think the way your husband handled it was fine. At least you'll be able to sleep. Let the emotions die down a bit and try to approach them. The reality is your sister will reach out, if only to get more free babysitting. For now, do nothing and wait it out. I suspect your poor husband was just as frustrated as you. It sounds like you are the responsible one and your sister has issues for some reason your mother cannot see it. OP says, I am by no means perfect, but I am just astonished that this all resulted from a request for quiet upstairs after 10 p.m. As you said, they should be in bed long before that, particularly on a school night. Also, the house is rather large and the downstairs area is bigger than most homes. I mainly posted to see if I was stupid or something and was missing something obvious, but it doesn't seem that way. My sister is the baby and always has been. We have all spent most of our lives doing what we could to make her life easier. After living abroad for so long and going through some harsh realities myself, I'm finding myself less tolerant of that sort of thing. I think that someone's ranking in a family shouldn't depend on how often they're willing to be a workhorse. Thank you for your reply. We're going to get our own place as soon as possible and probably go no contact for a while. If they want to reach out to us at some point in the future, so be it. If not, then they were never really my family. A reply to this says, from her response, it sounds like the anger and frustration wasn't really about your request at all. Rather, it sounds like she was taking out all the frustrations of her crappy life, like annoying kids, a crappy cheating, and now dying husband. And I'm guessing she's already alienated most non-family people in her life by now. She might also be aware that you and your husband are probably going to have a better quality of life than she is, and that can be a difficult thing to realize. I think she's freaking out because of the emotional stress of her situation and is inappropriately taking it out on you. Since your parents have enabled her behavior her entire life, they easily get sucked up in her thrall and get confused confused and misdirected. From what you've said, I do not believe they'd rather have her in their life than you. In the meantime, I suggest you simply don't engage with your sister. Give her some time to get back to her wits. Self-righteous anger can fuel itself for quite a while. Another comment here says, it sounds like you embarrassed her. She couldn't control her children and you called her out on it in her mind. And now she is getting defensive because she feels like you're calling her a bad parent. Just a thought.
Probably.
Which, I mean, I don't know, like if I'm the 5-year-old staying up till 11, I'm like, my parents are so cool. But in reality, like my brain's probably not growing at the proper rate anymore or something. Like, gotta give the kids sleep.
Absolutely.
They gotta.
Absolutely. Yeah, those are honestly some good comments, though. I didn't think about her just like kind of generally lashing out because of everything that's going on. It's definitely possible. It sounds like these are kind of problems anyway. Like it seems like she's kind of slacking as a parent anyway. But then I guess then that would kind of morph into that second comment of being like embarrassed about it and then, you know, lashing out like
taking
that.
it personally or like, you're saying I'm a bad parent. My kids don't behave. It's like, they don't.
It's like, no. Well, because I feel like this request of Opie's husband is really just like a request that like any of us could get if there's like, you know, a roommate falling asleep when everyone else is still having fun. You know, it's like, okay, like you guys are fine. Can you just please go downstairs or just be a little quiet? Like that's fine.
Yeah, it's like,
it's
I have
not
work
like
at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
It's such a hard ask to do at a party.
Yeah, well, at a whole party, yes. But if people are there's just a few of you hanging out, then you could probably do it.
Comment number 3. Sounds like you need to do the 5 a.m. wake-up call for the rest of the house. Wake the kids up really early, get them to wake up everyone else, and then the kids will be tired by 9 p.m. and it's a win-win. And here we go. This is the update, folks. Her husband is in a facility located a few hours away. She goes to see him every other weekend, and my parents usually watch her children at that time. Those weekends were the only times the kids were around for the past year or so until I moved back, which is right when they started camping out here. My sister has her own house given to her rent-free by her in-laws. It's older and has some problems, which is her excuse for being here all the time lately. Yesterday, when, believe it or not, my sister and her kids weren't here, I went to talk to my mother about what happened. She didn't know anything about the nasty text that my sister had sent me, but she seemed offended that my husband had talked to her. My sister made it out like my husband was rude and offensive, which he was not. I heard the entire conversation. My mom then started in on me, calling me spoiled and selfish because I needed sleep. Mothers can function on only 2 to 3 hours of sleep, so I know you can too, was her reasoning. I went upstairs livid.
Oh my gosh.
It's just the same logic of like, well, you know what? When I was your age, I had a broken arm.
Right.
So get over here. I'm going to break that arm.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
You need to know, if I did it, you must do it.
Yeah.
Because that's what's fair.
That's just also a crazy clarification of like this actually, like they hang out at this house a lot and they're trying to move, but like they don't live together. Like this isn't even the sister's house. So, because that's what it kind of sounded like before when they were like, we're going to move out soon. You know, we're working on it. But like they don't even need, like it's still your house, your rules, even though they like kind of.
Parents' house.
Oh.
Parents' house. Yeah. And then they're moving out once they get,
well,
once her partner gets like a full-time position, then you're going to figure out the move.
Okay. Well,
I think in the, so
still,
they've been playing
though.
with grandpa upstairs at night.
Yeah. It's not like you're like in the sister's house trying to demand things. You guys are both visitors here.
Right, this is a communal space.
Yeah.
This is a family space.
Exactly.
Anyway, my husband talked me down after that conversation with my mom, and we both went downstairs together to talk to her. He pointed out how much time and effort we have put into her kids and how upset we are by what happened. My mom actually apologized and said she wanted us to get along, but would no longer be involved in the peacemaking process. She wants us to stay in the house and says she'd prefer it if my sister and her kids didn't spend so much time here, but she doesn't feel like she can say no. I took my awesome guy out to dinner and did some errands. We returned later in the evening and saw my sister's vehicle here again. She and my mother were in the living room. The front door opens to the kitchen where the children were sitting. They greeted us shyly, not common for them. And my nephew asked my husband if we hated them. We were shocked and said, of course not. Who would tell you that? From the living room, my sister screamed at them to come in there right away or they would be in trouble. I was so angry that I was shaking, but again, I knew that a confrontation at that time would be a huge blow up in front of the children, and I didn't want them to see that, so we went upstairs. I had a message from my older sister to call her, so I did. My younger sister had spoken to my older sister earlier in the day. Her version of events was that I sent my husband to yell at her and insult her, which is not true, about the kids being too loud at 8 p.m. Again, not 8 p.m., past 11 p.m. She didn't mention mention any of the insulting texts she sent or the fact that I had talked to her earlier in the day and texted her before my husband went to talk to her regarding the noise level. I sent my older sister the nasty texts and other texts with the timestamp to prove that she was lying. Her point of view is that I should be offended, but I should also be the bigger person and try to reconcile. I disagree, and I think that doing so would just validate her and her lies, as well as her disgusting manipulation of her children. And by the way, you can listen to not disgusting full episodes with stories like this on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, wherever you listen to podcasts. All you have to do is search OK Storytime, and that'll give you access to 59 days worth of stories to listen to.
So much time in your hands.
10 days away from the funny number. We're almost there, and there is a little bit more story left here. I also disagree with older sister telling OP they need to reconcile, especially with the way that younger sister went about it. I think younger sister fully needs to realize that unless she swallows her pride and admits that she was wrong and made a mistake and is sorry about the way she treated OP, she does not deserve reconciliation.
Yeah, but I mean, if she did that, wouldn't that be reconciliation? Wouldn't, like...
If the younger sister?
Yeah, if the younger sister was like, my bad.
If the younger sister approaches and tries to reconcile, I agree, reconcile. But older sister is trying to tell OP it's your job to go and reconcile the situation now.
Yeah, no.
Exactly.
I agree with that. I think it's definitely the younger sister. I think, like we were kind of saying before, maybe OP can like start a conversation about it, but OP definitely shouldn't like apologize like that. So yeah,
I have respected my younger sister's wishes to never speak to her again and am happy to continue to do so in the future. We are working hard to find a rental property ASAP, and my husband has a promising job prospect, so at least there's a little bit of good news. I honestly can't believe my sister is behaving like this. When you travel abroad and spend a lot of time away from home, you expect that you will change. It seems that she has changed too, very much for the worse. It is unfortunate. And that is the end of that story.
Wow, that is unfortunate.
It's unfortunate, but there is a window there, for her to repair that relationship. But it's up to your sister at this point.
Yeah.
Or she is never going to learn or never going to change this behavior.
Yeah.
I want my sister out of my grandmother's house because she's taking advantage of her.
Don't do that, Grandma.
My sister, 33-year-old Grace, is the oldest of 8 siblings, with me being one of the youngest at 22 as of this writing. From the time I was young, I knew exactly that my oldest sister's family's relationship with my sisters, not my brothers, was not good. In fact, it was getting worse and worse since she had entered high school and gone to New Jersey for a season. By the way, this comes from Unit Mel, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. When my mother was alive, she would tell us about the number of things Grace did towards my other 2 sisters, Letty, 23, and Allison, 30. It was constant to hear about her messing with their boyfriends since they were teenagers, getting into fights. In short, a problematic person that my mom could never correct. Even her methods weren't the most appropriate. I understand that since she turned 17, her life went completely off the rails to a point of no return. And before she turned 18, she ran off with a guy and they got married. Of course, my mom was upset, but she couldn't say anything. Grace is a stubborn and proud person, but also extremely jealous. I have vague memories of my 3 sisters and 1 brother leaving home so young, long before they turned 20. The details behind that I will give in a separate update or post. But as time went on and as I became a teenager, they wanted to reconnect with my mother. But Grace prevented it. She would put conflicts between my siblings and my mother, like wanting to be the only daughter who deserved love. Grace did her best to separate my siblings from my mother. Even when my sister Letty passed away at the age of 23, in an atrocious way, she was jealous that my mother mourned her and went into a deep depression. My other siblings eventually distanced themselves from my mother, and only my 2 younger sisters, Wendy, 17, and Mary, 15, and I remained attached to our mother. Years passed between conflicts I had with Grace, her divorce, several failed relationships and arguments with my mother, who is now normal. My mother, of course, had gotten used to it. She was the only older daughter who spoke to her and did not want to lose contact with her. More time passed, and my mother passed away of a heart attack in 2020. My sister abandoned us a few months later, and after living with the biological father of my younger sister, we were punted out, and my grandmother took us in at the beginning of 2022. At that time, I was already studying at the university in another city, and because of the distance, I could not see my grandmother so often, only on vacations. My aunts and uncles, I don't know what went through their minds, decided that my older sister should come back into our lives to take care of my grandmother without taking into consideration that Wendy was helping out. But in these years, it has been the opposite. Grace is treated like a queen with her daughters because my grandmother doesn't know how to say no. My grandmother is very innocent and so noble-hearted. She has worn herself out for years taking care of her. Now, what I came to this subreddit for is what has been going on for months. My grandmother noticed that lately several of her belongings had gone missing. Among those, clothes, junk, jewelry, groceries. She put pieces together and realized that Grace's oldest daughter and Grace herself had been stealing from her. My grandmother at that moment realized it, got sick because of that anger that had caused her. Plus, she realized when Zoo, Grace's oldest daughter, had stolen $1,000 of her savings when she realized that her briefcase was somewhere else. Oh my goodness.
Wow.
To find out that these people, like your family members who you've been letting live with you, you know, I mean, in part to take care of the grandmother, I think, but
still,
have been stealing from you is terrible. My grandmother put up with it, but she hid her things better, but it was still useless. Every week, something was stolen from her. Now, 3 days ago, my grandmother called me in the middle of a class in dismay. Grace had stolen a tablecloth with very strong sentimental value. It was one of the last things that my grandmother had given her. For me, it was the last straw. My sister was biting the hand that fed her. Something that not even her new husband gave her because, yes, Grace remarried. That same day, I told her that I would see how to throw Grace out of the house at any cost. It was either that or Grace would steal the papers of the house and throw my grandmother out, and I want to avoid it before it's too late. But there is a huge detail. Several of my aunts and uncles would be against punting her out of the house. They would even punt my sister Wendy out before punting Grace out because they still think she's a good person. I still don't know what to do to punt her out and make my aunts and uncles realize what kind of person Grace really is. So am I the a-hole for wanting to punt my older sister out of my grandmother's house? There is an update, folks, but what do you think?
I don't think so. She's stealing.
She's stealing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is more than enough reason just by itself.
I agree.
Yeah. So, no, definitely not the a-hole.
Get her out of there. In short, my oldest sister Grace is leaving tomorrow, but she made a scene to affect my little sister, me, and above all, my grandmother. Honestly, I'm happy in one part, but in another, their drama is making an unnecessary snowball. For context, I skipped college for a while to come see my grandma, and Grace seems to have used my time here to start turning me against my uncles. Honestly, it's the least of it. You get used to being gossiped about. But in the middle of that, Grace started saying that my grandmother was covering for me, that I didn't do anything. I mean, all she did was steal. So I don't think Grace gets to complain about what someone's doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a complete lie. I've worn myself out in several ways trying to do everything, even stopping talking to my fiance. Yes, I didn't mention this before, but I've been engaged for 2 years, but that's the least of it. The point is that I've done my housework, accompanied my grandmother to the bank and to doctor's appointments while Grace was sick, and stayed in her room the whole time I was at my grandmother's house. I can count on my fingers and say that it's been the last 40 days. She's only helped with housework 5 times. And he's also cared little about the health of his youngest daughter, who has reached the point where she has developed anemia. Oh my goodness. Things started to get worse last week when my uncle Fidel called me out of nowhere. He deserves to be shown his real name. Anyway, he said in the phone call that I was a lazy person, that I had the right to be at home without doing anything, that she was a kept woman, and so on, with a hatred that could even be heard on the other side of the line. I was confused because at that moment I was finishing folding the clothes and he didn't even give me a chance to respond. Days passed and my aunt and her husband arrived to visit my grandmother, and as soon as they saw me, they swept me with their gaze and talked the entire time they stayed with Grace. You know where that's going. She has talked to them and said the same crap. I spoke to my fiance that same day in secret since Grace seemed to have ears everywhere. Fortunately, if they had punted me out of my grandmother's house, I already had a house in my name. Now, let's get to today. The day seemed calm. I had woken up early because I had end of semester meetings with my teachers since the morning. The afternoon started to look bad. My sister started packing her things dramatically in garbage bags, stopped talking to us, and left at intervals. And the moment the same uncles from the last visit arrived, she asked to speak with them in the presence of my grandmother and cried dramatically that she would not be in a house where they would speak ill of her, discredit her, accuse her of being lazy and an irresponsible mother. Grace stopped crying as soon as my uncles agreed with her, and they started telling my grandmother things that even made her feel sick, but she never cried. They left, and my grandmother didn't want to eat dinner anymore. By the way, you should never leave us because you can listen listen to more full episodes of stories just like this, just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime.
It's hard because it's like it feels like the kind of person that you can't just like tell them to stop.
Yeah.
You know, like it's as much as you might try to kind of convince them of like how they're taking, how negative their actions are to other people.
Yeah.
They're just gonna they're not gonna get it.
She doesn't care. Yeah. Grace does not care.
Not at all.
She wants everyone to be on her side
Mm-hmm.
so that she can continue stealing and being awful.
Yeah. It's like,
And Opie's the only one who's like, I'm gonna put a stop to that. And now
Yeah.
Grace is like, well, I'm going to ruin your reputation. But that's not all. 2 hours ago, Grace started making calls and campaigning to discredit my grandmother to make them stop giving her money and make her look like a good person. I called my fiance since his family is influential in the fields of commerce, government, and local affairs. I wanted to pay her back in kind, not only to Grace, but also to the uncles who believed in Grace. I'll probably come back with a new update in a few months, but it all depends on how it ends, because I'm also looking into doing it legally with his lawyers. And folks, that's the end of that story.
wow.
Good luck, OP. Good luck.
Good luck.
I hope that you can, be there for your grandmother and also make sure that, you get your own peace of mind.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is the end of that story. So we're going to get into the next one in just a moment. My sister's beliefs are starting to ruin our relationship. I want to cut her off.
I believe you stink.
I, 48 female, have 5 siblings. I am the oldest, and for a significant portion of my life, I was the only child since my parents had me as teenagers, married for less than 2 years. Then divorced when my mother turned 18 and dad was 21. I lived with my mom after that and saw dad on occasion. By the way, this comes from SelectGoat5572, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, I wanted siblings very much growing up. My half-brother was born when I was 9, and he is definitely my favorite, even though he has severe autism and only speaks in one-word sentences.
Okay.
We have the same mom, but different dads. Being a sibling to someone with a mental disability hardwires you into a certain kind of person, one who forgives things very easily and who stays under the radar. That's the kind of person I am, just FYI. My 3 step-siblings I no longer talk to, even though one of them I do want to be in contact with. Another story for another day. The meat of the story is this. My youngest sister is almost 14 years younger than me, and we share a dad. She was technically my second sibling, even though I was a bit jealous to see my dad be a better dad to her than he ever was to me. I'd had him all to myself until she was born. I was still very happy to have her in my life, and I put in a lot of effort to be around her while she was growing up. Eventually, I realized we grew up with 2 different versions of our dad. I got fun dad, and she got strict dad. So the jealousy only lasted a few years. Our dad passed away in 2008. She was 18 and I was 32. And she moved in with me and my family for a couple of months before she decided she didn't like my rules and moved out. In 2011, she told me she felt she was better off without me and no longer wanted me in her life. Wow. I tried to find out why, but she wouldn't tell me. For 2 months, I texted and emailed asking her to at least give me a reason. And when she wouldn't, I gave up and said I loved her and was there for her if she needed me. She contacted me the very next day and forgave me, but still never told me why. After that, I felt like I was walking on eggshells.
No way. I refuse. I'm not accepting that.
No, you need to tell me a reason. In 2016, we went on a road trip and got into a major fight, one that broke something inside me. I ended the trip early and brought us home. We were in my car, and for 13 hours, she yelled and screamed at me with breaks in between.
Well, I hope you were using the brakes.
Yeah, I'm sorry, wait. But also, she's like screaming at you, and then she's like, okay, hold on, I have to go on my phone for a couple of minutes.
Yeah. She's like, oh my God, wait, hold on. This is my jam. Hold up. This is my jam. My jam
And then
just
she's
turned
like,
on.
you suck! Okay, wait. Okay, back to it.
Yeah.
I seriously considered leaving her at a bus stop, but when she would stop, I thought she was done and would continue on. Within an hour, she would start all over again. This was October, and after I dropped her off, I felt like I was never going to talk to her again. Like I was done with her. I had never been that mad in my entire life. I started seeing a therapist around that time for job counseling, and my therapist told me that my youngest sibling might be bipolar. Keep that in mind. Being told that about a family member makes you reframe your thinking a bit, like, should I forgive her? No, you just go with that information and you say, hey, you should probably get some help. Doesn't mean that you have to accept all of the treatment that you're getting.
I wouldn't forgive her until she comes to you in a manner where it seems like she is seeking forgiveness.
And also in a manner that she's getting, like, she's also getting help too. right now, like nothing is happening.
Yeah.
At Thanksgiving of that year, that was when my relationship with the stepsister I loved ended. Her mom married and divorced our dad, and I instigated it. I sent her a text. Another long story, so I'll just leave it at that. What? My stepsister didn't respond, but the day after that, my youngest sister sent me a slew of nasty text messages saying she was cutting me off before I cut her off, because obviously family didn't mean anything to me. I let her and went no contact. I wanted to leave it that way, I really did, when January 2017 came around. But her mom passed away. I didn't want to be the type of wiener sibling that didn't even show for a funeral because I felt we would probably make up one day, but I was waiting until I was no longer angry. I went to the funeral. We agreed to talk and try to patch things up, but she told me I would have to change things about myself. 2 days later, after she ripped me apart for an hour, I got up and walked away from her, determined to stick to my no contact decision. Oh, and this is where the kid part comes in. She was pregnant at the time with her first child. I let her rip me apart because she was pregnant and had high blood pressure, and we passed away of heart attacks in my family. That was how our dad had passed. I didn't even defend myself against the horrible things she said to me that day because I wanted her to have a stress-free pregnancy, and I was worried that if I spoke, she would lose the baby.
Well, maybe also her like going off on you, probably not great for her blood pressure. I think generally you could just be like, hey, we should all just calm down.
Yeah.
Which, as we all know, is the best thing to say to someone who's worked up.
Yeah. That's true. Probably a better way to say it. I say that because my first child was born 6 weeks early when my old blood pressure spiked from a stressful situation my ex-stepmother put me through. Again, long story, another day. From January to October of that year, my sister got married. I wasn't invited. I switched jobs and moved out of state with my family. She had her baby, and then she finally called me in October to apologize and ask if we could make up. A full year after the road trip, and the longest we had ever not talked. I had calmed down by then. I am someone who prefers to forgive easily. My fellow people pleasers would understand that. And we made up. Oh, how I wish I had never answered that call. That Christmas, my youngest sister was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder when she was forcibly entered into a hospital psych ward. She had gone there for something medical. She had been sick, depressed, and got some kind of cold. And the staff at the hospital forcibly committed her. This is what her husband told me. Whoa.
Well,
what was she doing? Yeah, what was she doing?
Gotten aggressive or
she must
violent,
have.
who knows?
They kept her for 2 weeks because she was self-harming and they worried she might hurt my niece. They prescribed her meds, counseled her, and she was forced to stick with both for months afterwards. Quick insert here, my sister is a terrible mother. When I was raising my own 2 kids, she would try to give me advice about how to raise them, but I would stop her because she didn't have kids at that time. She would tell me, you're not supposed to raise kids like that. The internet says, girl.
Dude. The internet says all kinds of
Girl,
real great stuff.
And I would shut her down with, you don't get to tell me how to raise my kids. I changed your diapers. This caused a lot of tension between us. Back to the story. When she had her kids, she raised them according to how the internet told her to raise them. And she made it clear that my advice was not welcome. I was fine with that. But secretly, I gloated because she turned her first child into a little monster. She believes you never say no to a kid and that you should coddle them when they cry. I truly disliked my niece for the first 4 years of her life until my sister got pregnant again and stopped the meds. When my nephew was born, my sister finally started saying no to my niece. And I actually like her now. She's become more like me, quieter, calmer, happy to have a little brother. She's become your typical older sibling. Her little brother is a little crap though. Little devil. But the point is, my sister wants to have more kids. She's decided she wants 4. So she's never returned to her meds because she's either breastfeeding, which she does for 2 years after every child, or she's trying to get pregnant. She had my nephew back in 2021, and she's been trying to get pregnant ever since. Where is like the husband and all this? He's just kind of like, oh, okay, I know you need like medication, but let's just have kids.
Yeah, he's just floating around. He's just up in the sky.
Clearly. She's miscarried twice since then, and now she's 43 weeks pregnant. You read that right. 43. She's 3 weeks overdue. Wow. And they're expecting the baby to be at least 10 pounds.
Whew. How much I was.
Dang.
At least. The doctors still aren't sure how much I weighed.
What?
That doesn't make sense. What?
How? How are they not sure?
They literally
That's
weigh
why
you.
they're unsure.
Where were you
Of course
born?
they're sure how much I weighed, you guys. Why are we taking this so serious?
What did you mean by that?
Yeah, what did you mean by that?
I don't know. I guess whatever it was, I achieved it because I had delivered it in a way where you went, no way.
Here's where my issues with her come in. When she commits to something, she commits. And right now, she is committed to becoming the scary kind of Catholic. I have nothing against Catholics, but she's got a giant picture of Jesus right next to her living room TV and has painted some ridiculous made-up phrase about grace on another living room wall that makes no sense to me. It's definitely not from the Bible. Her home is like a filthy, dirty loony bin because she doesn't really clean, and she's become a bit of a hoarder. When I visit, we don't leave her gross house. And she has given up her 4-year Ivy League degree to be a stay-at-home mom because I don't know. I really don't.
Well, I mean, sometimes, that happens.
Yeah.
That kind of happened to my mom. Like, my mom had she was an entrepreneur. She built businesses and stuff. And she had me and she was like, I am not spending any more time doing that.
I don't think that's that crazy of a thing to do.
Yeah. Sometimes people have a kid and they're like, oh, this is my thing now. I'm dropping everything for this creature that I gave
gotta take
birth
care
to.
of the creature now. The last visit that I had with her 2 years ago, she told me not to say the word attracted to the same gender in front of her children because she didn't want to teach them about that. And her church says...
Okay, so for reference, that word was gay.
Yeah, for reference, she sucks. I cut her off and told her to shut the F up. My oldest is trans, non-binary, and you could say they're attracted to the same gender since they were assigned female at birth and now go by they, and my oldest likes girls. Before you ask, we're fine with it. We accepted it from day one. Well, a part of me is still holding on to the dream of being the best big sister ever and having super close relationships with my siblings. Secretly, I hate people who are close to their siblings. I get so jealous when my coworkers tell me how close they are to their siblings, that they have weekly meals together or go on trips together.
Boy, Opie's gonna hate you and Sam.
Yeah. Ooh, we
And
live
me.
together.
Actually, me and my sister.
Yeah. Yeah, we both live with our siblings.
Pretty cool.
Pretty cool. I want that so bad, but it seems it's not in my stars. Still, I want to cut my sister off because she's way too intense for me now. Every phone conversation becomes an argument she has to win, even though we aren't arguing. Every phone call lasts at least an hour, and she always turns it into a praise Jesus session.
Praise Jesus.
I consider myself a Christian, but her ideas about Christianity are so absurd. Like, she literally said one time that the Catholic Church has never persecuted anyone ever. And she said the history books were just lying. She's straight up Delulu. I don't know if she would get better if she went back on meds. I wasn't really around when she was on them. But I feel like the more kids she has, the crazier she seems to get. I want out. I'm super low contact now, but I still want out. However, I can't seem to get rid of this guilt about it because she has no one left. No parents, no grandparents. She doesn't live near any of our relatives, and she's not close to any of them, even if she did. Her in-laws don't really like her, and I wouldn't be surprised if her husband divorced her one day. I think he's a saint for still being with her. I want to cut her off, but I know she's getting self-harming tendencies, and I do worry about my niece now. By the way, I'm just going to lead into that. You can listen to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search for Poke Storytime.
Indeed.
But there is a little bit left to the story.
Indeed.
If you cannot deal with her behavior anymore, and what's best for you is, limiting contact, then you got to do what's best for you. But that doesn't mean you have to go completely no contact if you still want to keep an eye on your niece.
Yeah. It's a hard situation to be in, acute mental illness is involved some way. It's never an excuse for behavior. It informs behavior.
Yeah.
But it's you have to make the call yourself on if, this is something that you can handle in your own life, because you can't be prioritizing somebody else's emotional state.
And also someone
over
who's
your own
not
life.
getting medicated, who knows they should
Right.
be medicated and is not being medicated.
You're not teenagers. Your sister has to make her own decisions about that stuff. No one can do it for her. I mean, unless she, I guess, goes to the hospital and probably attacks a nurse or something, whatever happened that got her put in a involuntary hold. But you're going to have to find a way to make peace with the fact that you can't make her do anything.
Exactly. Our aunt, who's the nicest, sweetest aunt in the world, in my opinion, and the one person I most try to emulate, thinks I should just forgive her and continue being there for her, but I can't. I want to let her go, but what's the magic phrase? I know I'm not really an a-hole because I'm still hanging around, but I want to be the a-hole. Unfortunately, I'm hardwired to be the people pleaser. Someone give me the magic phrase that will release the guilt, please. Help me become an a-hole.
No, I don't want to make you an a-hole.
No, I refuse.
I don't want to do that.
Can't change the fact that she has borderline personality disorder, and so it's just managing how much you're able, how much contact you're able to have with her for your, while also still maintaining your own mental health.
Right.
But that is the end of that story.
My parents called the cops on my sister. I don't think I'll ever forgive them. My 30 female younger sister, 24 female, is neurodivergent, most likely on the autism spectrum. She's never been diagnosed because her parents don't believe in that and are adamant that she is very intelligent. She just needs to work harder. They've had this stance her entire life and never allowed her to be placed in a special ed or got her any kind of therapeutic support when it became apparent that she was not developing in the same way as most of her peers. By the way, this comes from a Video Cortis, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So their stance was and is that she just doesn't apply herself or work hard enough. My sister is very high functioning, very sweet and gentle, but socially awkward. She struggles with things like time management, interpreting social situations, and understanding long-term consequences of actions. She kind of stopped maturing socially around 12 and has a lot of markers that correspond with autism or Asperger's. Our parents were emotionally and mentally harmful to both of us growing up, especially our mother. She would pit us against each other, so there was always a good child and bad child in any conflict scenario, and we had to compete to win her favor. Our parents also knowingly allowed us to be exposed to a number of spicy, relatedly predatory adult men during our child and teen years because they were family members or friends of the family, then dismissed or ignored any inappropriate behavior or blamed it on us, even if it happened right in front of them. When I came out as bi, they forced me to break up with my first and then second girlfriends by forbidding me from seeing them. I could go on, but if you get a better picture of my parents in general, just spend a few minutes on r/raised by self-absorbed parents. They are examples of their personality and behavior patterns in literally every post here. Despite all this, I've had a good relationship with my sister since I moved when I went to college in the city where I've been living since, which is about 90 minutes away by car. I've been no contact with my parents for about 6 years. Around that time, when my sister was in her senior year of the Catholic school, which they'd sent her to because she needed more discipline. They pulled her out of school because they decided they didn't like the politics of her social studies teacher. They're very conservative, but not religious. Since then, she's failed the GED twice that I know of. And of course, our parents have refused to get her a tutor. They also live in a very rural location with no public transport options. So she's dependent on her mom to drive her literally everywhere, including to her part-time job. She has had her learner's permit, but they have refused to teach her to drive or get her an instructor, then blame her from being dependent on them for transportation. Because of her inability to leave the house and the fact that she has bounced around from school to school throughout her teen years, her friends are all online. I've only seen my sister once since going no contact when our mom let her hang out with me in a museum in the city where I live, and that was about 5 years ago. She's wanted to visit me since then, but is held back by a lot of factors, including the fact that she's reliant on our mom for transportation and severe anxiety, which I have struggled with too, the surprise of exactly no one. A couple weeks ago, after trying and failing multiple times to get her to take the bus to the city, I finally got her a cab to the bus stop and stayed on the phone with her the whole time so she felt safer. I picked her up and she stayed with my partner and me in our apartment for a few days. We had a great time and it was nice to bond with her as an adult. The day before she had to be back at her part-time job, we sent her home on the bus. I stayed in contact with her by text until she got to the town where her parents were supposed to pick her up. She apparently waited there in a cafe for about 2 hours before our mom decided to show up. A couple hours later, I got a call from my sister wailing like I've never heard her cry before, barely intelligible. I managed to calm her down enough for her to tell me what was going on. She got home. They had cleaned her room and thrown all of her clothes into boxes, regardless of whether they were dirty or clean. She understandably freaked out and started digging through looking for her work uniform because she had to go to work in the morning and ended up dumping everything out on the floor. It was at that point our mom decided to call the cops.
What? Oh my God.
When my sister told me this part, I kind of brushed it off because she threatens stuff like that all the time. It's always an empty threat aimed at controlling target. But this time, she actually followed through. So the cops showed up and my sister called me hysterically crying again. She said the cops had called an ambulance for her and she was afraid they were going to lock her up or have her put away, and then hung up abruptly. I immediately called the non-emergency police number, explained the situation, and asked them to call me with any updates in case I lost contact with my sister. They let her keep her cell phone in the ambulance and while she was in the hospital, and when she got there, she called me while she was with the nurse, and the nurse asked to speak with me. She explained what was going on. Basically, they were just holding her for evaluation and taking her vitals. Her assessment was that my sister wasn't mentally unstable or violent. She just seemed extremely anxious, scared, and added that she was very sweet. I held it together during the phone call, but broke down crying as soon as I hung up.
I get it. I mean, insane. It's like the medical professional is like, yeah, she's totally fine. She's just like super anxious and scared
Yeah.
because of this insane, like they
Because her
said,
parents are like turning against her and literally making her get arrested by the cops almost. She saw a social worker about an hour later, and the social worker called me as well. She'd already spoken to her dad before calling me, and it turns out he lied about basically everything, including my own mental stability. Apparently, I've been in and out of psychiatric care for years and years, which was an attempt to call me crazy, I think. Which is ironic because my very last communication with them was via email begging them to go on medication or family therapy with me, which I offered to pay for. My father's response was a 10-paragraph email that included the accusation that I was trying to psychologize him. Let me know if anyone knows what the heck that means.
you're
Please.
psychologizing me.
Think you mean psychoanalyzing. For the record, I have been in solo therapy as an adult for the past 6 years, and it has been an immensely useful tool, which has helped me grow as a person, as well as deal with all this. The social worker asked me if I thought it was safe for her to go home, and I hesitated before clarifying that while yes, her parents are emotionally abusive, they're not physically abusive, and I don't have a place for her to stay long term. So she went back home when they released her from the hospital. The state police finally called me around midnight that night, and I spoke to the trooper who arrived at the scene. He seemed, one, confused as to why they were called when it became apparent that it was a domestic dispute and not an emotionally disturbed person. And he had been led to believe, he said, my sister seemed very sweet and that she was definitely not a threat to anyone. And two, unsure how to handle the situation himself. And at which point he asked my sister if she would like to speak to someone. To reiterate, my sister does not understand many conversational nuances or figures of speech. So in her mind, that did not mean going to a hospital. That meant literally talking to someone. So that's how the ambulance got called. Things were pretty quiet for a couple of days until I got another call from my sister, scream crying. Our parents said they were going out of town for something, but actually went to the police station. My sister saw this on the family tracker app they all use and freaked the F out. Apparently, our parents had been threatening her every day with having her locked up, meaning institutionalized, if she doesn't comply with the list of rules they've come up with. So she was fully under the belief that our parents were at the police station to report her for something and that she was about to go to jail or a psych hospital. As she was on the phone with me, she was frantically running through the 1,500-acre state park bordering our parents' property. Also, her phone was passing away. I advised her to head back home, and she replied that she was lost. She had gone off trail. I told her to save battery and try to come back the way she'd gone. We grew up in the woods, so I wasn't too worried at that point. This is also not the first time she's run into the woods in a state of heightened emotion. There's literally nowhere else to run to from where they live. Called back 2 hours later, still lost. Then her phone died. So I called the non-emergency number again and explained the whole situation, including the events of the other day. They said they'd send someone over right away. 2 more hours later, my sister called me back. The troopers had shown up at the same time our parents returned, which led to some confusion as our parents didn't even know she was missing. They found her pretty quickly. Apparently, she had not gone far, didn't get in any trouble. And apparently, the reason our parents had gone to the police station is that one of the many authority figures they met the other day, either a healthcare worker or a cop, informed them that there was the possibility they'd be charged with filing a false police report. They went down to the station to clear things up.
I mean, hopefully they get charged with something.
So basically, they had to pay for a very expensive ambulance ride and then got told they were a-holes for calling the cops in the first place. Will they learn anything? Probably not.
Yep.
Things have not been quiet since, meaning they yell at my sister their normal amount over extremely petty BS, but no one has called the cops or ambulance again. My sister wants to come visit again, but I'm fully convinced that everything that went down was a punishment for her visiting me without their help or permission. I don't want to repeat that experience. I've struggled over the past few years with not being in a position to help my sister more. I can provide emotional support whenever needed and let her know that she always has a place to crash with me if she wants to, or if things at home get bad enough for her to leave. Punting her out or me out is a threat our mom has had a habit of constantly throwing around the most minor transgression that has yet to follow through on. I told my sister if that ever happens, she can stay with me and I will help her with finding a job and apartment however else I can. Currently, I can't financially support her even if moving in with me was an option, which it is not. My partner and I live in a 1-bedroom with a weird layout where even if we turned the living room into a bedroom, it would give neither her nor us much privacy, so it's not a long-term solution. And frankly, I've never wanted the responsibility of being a surrogate parent to my sister. I'm willing to support her in a normal sister way and also help her get external support. Problem is, I don't know where to start or what to do. I know the first step is to get her a proper diagnosis. The social worker I spoke to recommended a couple of teaching hospitals near me that have autism programs. I would be willing to bring her, but the issue is getting her here and back without incident. By the way, if you want to get here and back in life without incident, you should listen to full stories of episodes just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app, and search OK Storytime. There's another relevant update. She's also traumatized from her experience being taken to a hospital and is afraid if she gets evaluated or diagnosed, they will slap her with a crazy stamp and institutionalize her. The way I approach bringing her to see a qualified professional has to be very delicate. I also know from there I should contact social services and see if she qualifies for disability, which can help her with housing as well. I'm just new to navigating all of this, especially the social services system, so any advice, resource, insights, or personal comments would be welcome. Responses from OP. Commenter 2, I think the first step needs to be getting out of your parents' house. It's clear that she cannot stay there for much longer. You should reach out to domestic violence shelters in the area to see if they would be willing to help since this is a domestic situation. Keep in touch with the social worker too. Getting a diagnosis will be helpful for getting her on disability, but getting her out is more important. She seems to be functioning well enough to have a part-time job. Does she understand that she's neurodivergent in some way and know that she has to get help in order to leave? I think she needs a whole lot of reassurance that she's capable of leaving. And OP responds, thank you. Yes, she is aware that she's different, but gets upset if I mention specific terms like autistic. Comment 3, reading your post is heartbreaking as hell. Your parents have it drilled into her head that hospitals are bad and being labeled equals a psych ward. You really need to talk to her about the hospitals the social worker talked about and ensure she shouldn't be alone because she has you. Your relationship with her will never be the normal kind until she's away from those people and she's getting help. And OP responds, yep, you nailed it. I brought it up to her as tactfully and as gently as possible. The last time we talked, the phrasing I used was talk to a therapist rather than get an evaluation, and she seemed cautiously okay with that. The issue is finding a way to get her to the office, but it seems like the first step is to get her into her own place, or at least out of there. And that is where this story ends.
My mother-in-law is upset that we didn't tell her the baby's name first.
Hey, I called dibs on knowing that.
My partner and I just recently welcomed our third baby. Congratulations. All of my births have been scheduled for induction or a planned C-section, so each birth was on the day and our babies entered the world calmly. I always felt blessed for that. By the way, this comes from Juju Cat Hulu, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, this one arrived 4 weeks early with my water breaking, so we were taken by the wind with her arrival. Previous to this, with the global pandemic, work has been absolutely insane, and I was easily giving 50 or more hour work weeks. The house got away from both my partner and I. With each baby, I have a ritual of deep cleaning, every piece of laundry done, everything is in order. Given the surprise entrance of our daughter, everything was the opposite, and I had to literally do laundry to even finish my hospital bag, and I had to leave for the hospital before anything was finished. So, just to set the scene, everything felt chaotic, and literally 3 hours after arriving to the hospital, I was in surgery for delivery. Wow, moving fast. We still had no name for our baby. Before they took me back, we began calling family to let them know what was happening. We called my partner's mom twice, waiting 20 minutes between each phone call. It came down to the minute, and as they were taking me back, she returned our call, but we sent her a text letting her know what was happening. She asked to be updated, and absolutely, that was no issue. When she was born, 6:38 p.m., pictures and stats were sent, and we confessed that we still didn't have a name. She replied her congratulations, and all was well. Famous last words. We finally got back into our room and were obviously up into early hours. As we went back and forth, we chose a name. Exhausted, I updated a Facebook post with her name and went to sleep not thinking much of it. Mind you, I was so tired, I didn't even update my own mother. I knew I could call her the next day and it wouldn't be an issue. Or so we thought.
Oh, think again.
The next morning, my partner got the following message. I find it sad that on such a momentous event, the birth of your daughter, you can't notify me with her name once you both decided on one. I'm only her grandmother. I can't understand what I ever did wrong that you fail to, in some small way, connect with me ever so often. Gee, I'm only your mother. ironic when, from the past, hearing raves of what a wonderful son I raised. He's a special young man. We just love him, blah, blah, blah. Who am I again? Oh, just a woman who gave birth to a boy almost 36 years ago. I wasn't perfect as your mother, a parent. You'll discover you aren't either. There was much I gave up to raise a family, and I wouldn't change it for the world.
Oh my God.
Even homeschooling because it became necessary. Even when you refused to leave the vehicle for 7th grade. I laugh at the irony
Dude, she's
now.
bringing up 7th grade?
This is crazy.
What?
You never wanting to do the work and then desperately wanting to be homeschooled. Here's the thing. I never neglected to keep in touch with my folks, even when obligations faced. I helped as the need arose. All I know is I stay connected. My prayers will always be with my grandchildren, and that someday, as they grow older, they experience the greatest miracle of all. Probably not by their parents, but with hope and prayer, a cousin, an aunt, or an uncle. Again, congratulations on the birth of Hannah Marie to her siblings. Be well. I love you.
Is she gone?
That was like a perfectly written monologue for someone. That was so insanely dramatic and well thought out, though.
That is truly the Shakespeare
Yeah.
of insane post-birth messages to get from your mom.
It was crazy.
Like,
who am I? Just your mother.
I wish I
It's
could.
so
I wish I could
insane.
stand in front of her while she like was saying all this, and I would just go, boring, boring.
Yeah. As I watched my partner read this, I could tell he was upset by it. It's not something you want to get after not even 24 hours after the birth of your child. When I read it, I was instantly angry. The most upsetting part of her behavior was towards the end. She is extremely religious, so when she went on about our children experiencing the miracle, she was talking about God. Probably not by their parents, she said, in quotes. Uh-oh. I'd like to mention, while we are not married and we don't worship in the same calculated and devoted way she does, she basically called us religious failures to not only our existing children, but the one who has not been on this earth one full rotation. But, you know, hopefully someone will save them and teach them how to get to heaven, because to her, their souls were screwed. Marriage is something we plan on down the line, and quite frankly, it's no one's rightful business. So for the first time in 10 years I've known her, I spoke up. Mind all of you, I've always respected her, and while I don't understand her one bit, I've never held it against her. She is who she is, and she gave me my partner, so for that I will always love her. But my respect for her plummeted, and I replied with this with my partner's read through and permission. He said he didn't know how to reply, and with his blessing, I sent it. Hi.
Oh, here we go.
So, I understand you expressed some feelings towards Ryan and I just wanted to reach out. Truthfully, I am upset by your timing and am confused by where you felt wronged in the chaos of me going into labor and getting Hannah's name out to you. It seems you were upset by the fact that we did not update you in the way that you wanted to be updated, and I'm sorry if you felt it was intentional or we were trying to push you away somehow. To be quite honest, my water broke and suddenly I was having surgery with a half-packed hospital bag at home still. I did ask Ryan when we were waiting for me to go back for surgery if he got a hold of you, and both calls were missed when we tried to call. He did, however, let me know that you were texting with him. Pictures and post-birth stats were provided. We have been occupied with Hannah's care since, as she is considered premature, so we haven't had the time to stop and contact everyone individually as frequently as we had wished this time around. In fact, we didn't even have a name ourselves, as each nurse asked what to write on her little name card throughout the evening. We apologize that giving you her name right away was overlooked. This baby entered the world in a bit of a chaos, and we seemed to have failed the expectation we should update you by a certain time. I added her name to my Facebook post to get a mass announcement out. This wasn't done with any intention to upset anyone. I'm not aware of anyone else being upset by this, but maybe it brought up disappointment in other places for you, as you've now shared. Particularly how we have decided to raise our children and their relationship with religion. It was stressful to be called not enough in a time where we are welcoming a new life into this world. Right now, I'm going through a hard time with breastfeeding our premature baby who is losing weight, as it's a bit of a rougher start for her than my first two. This feedback by you is unwelcome. We are preoccupied as new parents, and Ryan is an understanding partner, guiding and supporting both of us. I am amazed by him all over again. It was left field to be somewhat taunted about how hopefully my children will be saved by a relative, as if they have somehow been failed already. Rest assured, God loves them with or without a daily scripture. Clearly, this is an observation you have kept to yourself for a long time. Again, I apologize if everything above seems sharp, but honestly, we could have used more positive light from your direction and reading that was in general upsetting. On that note, we do love you and hope to set up a time where you can meet Hannah Marie in person. She is very excited to meet her family, and we will be reaching out once we feel settled. We love you, and we'll send more pictures soon. Boom. How do we feel about that?
If I could roll my eyes into the back of my head right now, I would.
Yeah.
That was way too much. I'm sorry, but it's like you're playing your game.
Yeah.
You've done exactly what she wanted.
Yeah, it's just hard when with these like problems. It's hard when they happen over text like this because you feel like you have to hit each point of like what they're saying, or else it's just gonna like exist and build resentment or something like that. But then to do that, you have to like do an equally long or longer paragraph to explain yourself, and it's just gonna be a never-ending cycle.
The rest of that can be talked out in person if you even want to, but it's like it just needed to be like a paragraph max, and it needed to be like really disappointed in the way that you've communicated with us right after the birth of your granddaughter. You don't need to take shots at your son like that on what should be one of the most memorable days of his life.
Right.
Again, very disappointed. We'll talk to you about this later.
Yeah, I like that. His mother never replied. Days go by, and I honestly was going to let it go, except that we would never see eye to eye, and she would probably read it and just didn't want to say anything. Well, yesterday, my sister-in-law, who was just as upset by this, shared that his mother was openly complaining about the whole situation and that she admittedly never read my message and she didn't plan to. Now I'm angry all over again. In all of this, for all she knew, we didn't call her again because maybe my partner's phone died for all she knew. If anything, she could have called us to check on not only myself, but her son. She instead decides to send some more righteous, self-absorbed person messages on top of it and won't even receive a reply to it. We are planning a dinner over there soon, so everyone can meet her. Everyone has been quarantining, by the way, and cases are very low in our state. And I'm going to be completely honest, I don't know how I'm going to conduct myself, let alone get through a whole dinner. I'm so upset, I don't even want her to hold this baby, and I'm mostly talking out of anger. And by the way, we're always over here talking just out of necessity. So you can listen to it on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, or whatever your favorite podcast app is. Just search OK Storytime. You can find full episodes with stories just like this one.
That's right.
So yeah, there's a little bit more to this story, but any final thoughts before we go into it?
You're playing into the game, which you can do, but
yeah.
This was like a surprise. It was an early delivery. Like it was just, they didn't know they were going to be at the hospital. There's all this craziness going on. They didn't even have a go bag. Like it was very chaotic.
Right.
So it's in no way were they intentionally trying to exclude or hurt the mother-in-law, but mother-in-law very much intentionally tried to hurt them.
Yeah.
So
that is true.
Regardless of like, oh, maybe they shouldn't have posted on Facebook, they were not the ones being malicious.
Yeah,
you know?
Absolutely not. Yeah, like I don't think that posting is bad at all. But yeah, like even if it was hurt, this is a much bigger reaction than it should be. But there is a little bit more, so let's get on into it. My partner does think that this is stemming from forgetting to call her on Mother's Day for the first effing time ever. Absolutely, he dropped the ball, but who's perfect? And we've literally had the most stressful year in general. But I still don't think that excuses her timing. Yeah, okay. I'd also like to point out that I can't even remember or count on one hand the amount of times that she's reached out to us. It seems to be the other way around. And not once has she ever called me throughout this pregnancy to see how I'm doing. How the heck am I going to move forward and get past my emotional urge to call her out? Or do I not even bother and swallow my pride? And we do have some comments. Should I read those right now, or do you have some comments beforehand?
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I would say about how to go about like moving through life with this person involved in it, just taking away her authority in your head. Because that's the thing that makes it crazy. It's like this, my mother-in-law, but it's like, just look at her as like an annoying kid.
Yeah.
You know? Because
Yeah.
that's what she's being right now.
That's true.
She's
That's
resulting to 7th grade. She's trying to
Go way
slam
back.
dunk bully her own child.
Right. Commenter number 1 says, just wow. I'm so angered on your behalf. I've gotten some crazy emails from my own parents, but you're right. The narcissism of that during a time that you definitely don't need any added stress, that takes the cake.
Yeah.
Is your partner outraged? All of the self-righteousness regarding religion, the holding his 7th grade self against him, it sounds like she is a toxic force in your life. I would seriously consider cutting her out of your family. She should realize what is at stake when berating you for not telling her immediately the granddaughter's name. Does she not realize that you guys control access to her grandkids? Would he ever consider cutting her out? Nope, he responds, I could cry. Thank you for this validation. I was like, #sweaty palms posting this because I feel insecure about the whole situation. I've known this woman for 10 years and not once has she ever lashed out like this, so I felt like I was breaking down a wall doing so. A lot of people have said that I'm overly nice in my response to her, but imagine having no issues with someone on a confrontational level and you suddenly had to rise to the occasion. Interacting with her in general can be eggshells. She's very opinionated. She is very isolated, and a lot of the family on his side aren't extremely close with her from what I understand as a distant outsider. Her daughter, my partner's only sibling, has a very strained relationship with her. His mom is absolutely included in the family, but half the time there's unnecessary tension. I think my partner isn't surprised by it, and while that isn't necessarily outraged, they aren't surprised either. Would I cut her off? That's a loaded question. She has a lot of illnesses, so she kind of gets a free pass to a point. We don't see her a lot. I really was hoping that my message would at least be read, but apparently she gets the final say, and that's that. And that is that for the whole story.
Again, get rid of her authority. You're independent adults. I assume you don't rely on this woman for support or anything. So just start rejecting her sense of authority.
Yeah. If Riley was here, he would say to just call her and just talk instead of having problems over text. Just call.
It's true.
And because that's exactly what happens. You give them the opportunity to have the last laugh just like that, and or to just not say anything at all. And then it's like, okay, great. Now it's still a problem and nothing has been resolved.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful.
I'm refusing to pay back my sister because she told me I didn't have to.
And no takesies backsies.
I, 21 female, I've been in a pretty bad financial situation for the last year. I had surgery on my knee last year, and due to that, I lost my job. So while I was recovering, my fiance, 23 male, took on extra hours. After 5 months, I was cleared to start working. However, I needed to be careful with my leg and try not to overwork myself. By the way, this comes from Exotic Armadillo 99. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OK Storytime subreddit.
Yeah, you silly goose. Why don't you head over there?
So I searched for a job, and I got a job. Fast food joint. Unfortunately, that didn't last very long. After 6 months of me being there, laid a bunch of people off, and I was one of them. So once again, without a job. During this time, my fiance was also laid off. However, that quickly changed as we applied for the Dash of the Doors, and I started dashing full time. We made barely enough money to where we could cover our bills. During this time, my mom offered to help me with some of the bills, so I took the opportunity. She started to pay for my phone bill, my insurance, which combined was about $300 a month. I understand like maybe $200 in your car insurance, but like, how much is your phone bill?
Wait, did they say they had $300 a month in bills?
For just their phone and car insurance.
Oh, the car insurance could be really high.
Yeah.
Oh, the phone bill can be. The phone bill can be $100.
Yeah.
You know, depending on if they have kids, how many people are on the line, like how many people are.
This allowed me to pay some of my medical bills for my surgery. This is where my sister comes in. Let's call her Anna. My sister, 16, wanted to go with me to the flea market and spend the day with me. I told her as long as she pays for gas, I'd take her out. She agreed. She spent $150 on me, and then bought us food afterwards. I told her that I'd pay her back soon. However, she just said not to worry about it since she did this willingly, and I said okay, and we went home. Nice.
Okay.
Seems like a gift.
That was an agreement. We just made a verbal agreement right there.
Yep.
There we go.
A few weeks later, I called my mom and asked her if she'd paid the phone bill yet. She said no, as she didn't have the money. My sister overheard this and offered to pay it for me. I told her she didn't have to, but she sent me the money, $130 anyways. After a couple of weeks, I tried to give her the money and she told me not to worry about it. But I asked her if she was sure. She said yes, that we were sisters and we shouldn't have to worry about paying each other back. Sisters!
We're sisters. Ah!
I told her thank you, and she doesn't realize how much she's helping me. She said no problem, and that she'd do anything to help me. Not long afterwards, my fiance was able to get a job, so I was able to start cutting back on dashing the door and focus on physical therapy for my leg. During this time, my sister wanted to go out more, so I took her out whenever she wanted, and for a couple of months, it was good, till 2 weeks ago. What happened? What do you think this is? What do you think a 16-year-old girl could have done to make this whole thing not work?
Just exist. 16-year-olds messing everything up, dude.
My sister randomly texted me where the money was that I owed her. Where the money was, I looked at the text confused because she told me that I didn't have to worry about paying her back. So I messaged her and told her that you told me I don't have to worry about paying you back. She proceeded to tell me that she never said that and that I owe her well over $500 now. I told her there must be some misunderstanding because I clearly remember you telling me I don't have to pay you back. She then told me, never mind, and not to worry about it.
All right.
I just wouldn't worry about it.
That's the second time now you've essentially gone, everything's fine, we're good, don't worry about it. Twice you've done it now.
I told her okay, and I thought that that would be the end of it. However, it very much was not the end of it.
Good, gotta love a good however.
What are we doing here? Are we giving her the money back? Are we not asking her to pay for anything else?
I think this is a good time to teach. This is the younger sister.
16-year-old sister.
This is a great time to teach younger sister on what deals and agreements are. Because if she doesn't learn this lesson and she goes into her adult life, not understanding how agreements work,
she's probably going to have a lot of failed businesses.
She's going to be at a disadvantage.
Yep. She's going to be at her lemonade stand wondering why nobody's paying her when she said, don't worry about paying.
Yeah. I mean, get like, or you go to your job and your coworker says, can you cover my shift? And you go, don't worry about it. And then you don't show up for their shift and you both get in trouble.
Yeah.
Because you went, I told her don't worry about it. Like don't, because I'm not doing it. I thought that was clear. What are we talking about?
What are we talking about? About a week after the first conversation, she texted me asking when I'd give her the money. I told her that you told me that I did not have to pay her back. She then got very upset and told me that I'm lying to her and that she never said that. At this point, I'm like, okay, it's clearly something's going on. So I tell Anna, I'm going to call her mom, tell her about it. She then tells me forget about it. And then I'm like, okay. So I proceed to call my mom and talk to her about it. She was livid because Anna had said in front of both of us that I did not need to worry about paying her back. So she went and had a conversation with her. And after a little bit, my mom came back and told me it was all settled and not to worry about paying her back. Okay, I keep hearing this, don't worry about paying me back.
Yeah.
But I am always like, worrying about paying you back. What are we supposed to do here?
I am immediately suspicious that the mother has taken money out of OP's bank account somehow. Some kind of something somewhere. So somewhere, money that was intended to go to OP has now gone to the sister with no conversation, no reconciliation, no understanding. I feel like that was bad. That was a bad move on the mom. This should have been handled between the two siblings, especially 16.
Yeah.
Come on.
I told her thank you and I hung up thinking this is what the end of it was. But yet, it was not.
No, but yet, dude. You hit the but yet like that. There's no way. That got me. I don't know why it got me.
I love you. This morning, I went door to the dashing. It was a pretty slow morning. I only made about $50. So I decided to go out dashing during the afternoon. I got a text from Anna asking if I want to go out today. I told her that I could not as I was out dashing. She said okay, and that was the end of it. Well, a couple hours later, I get a call from her, so I answer. She proceeds to tell me once again that I owe her money, that if I do not pay her back by the end of the month, she will pursue legal action.
Yeah, I don't think you have a legal leg to stand on, my guy.
OP, I'm going to tell you something. This is the easiest lawsuit you can win of your life. All you got to do is to get emotionally distressed as hard as you can, countersue your sister when she sues you, and get everything she has. Go for everything that your sister has. Easy.
I've never heard better plans.
This is free money right here. I asked her, what is she on about? She got extremely upset. She lists everything she's paid for and bought from me in the last few months, which was to the point around $700. I told her I won't be paying it back because she told me I didn't have to. She then got my stepdad on the phone, and he proceeded to tell me if I didn't pay her back, we will go to court over it. I hung up the phone and called my mom.
What?
My mom was extremely upset and went home to talk to my sister and stepdad. Well, it didn't go too well because my sister and stepdad have been punted out of the house temporarily. Thankfully, I don't live at the house because that would have been a crap show.
Oh my God.
Anna, my stepdad, and my younger sister called me and said I've ruined the family. But my mom said not to listen to them, and I did nothing wrong. I feel like I've done nothing but screw everything up. My fiance has been super supportive and says that I should go no contact with my sisters for a bit, but they're the only family I got left. Am I the a-hole? We got an update. 1, let's sit down with the sister, probably make a payment plan if she's this bothered by it, and she probably has some PPC going on here. Do you think the little sister has some CPP?
The little sister?
I heard
Yeah.
PPC.
Yeah.
I don't know about the little sister.
She has chronic.
I think the OP
16.
probably does.
16, because the little sister's like, hey, don't worry about paying me back. Actually, I want my money back. Hey, don't worry about it. She's just saying whatever to keep the peace.
No, I think she's just 16 and probably needs money for something she doesn't want to talk about. And that if anyone has CPP, I would think it was OP. Because she's over here being like, I feel like this is my fault. I've done this.
Yeah.
Now, the things that I said have caused people to be upset, and that's my fault. And I feel like that's not true at all.
So, honestly, I didn't think I would update, and it's been a few hours since everything has happened. Oh, wait, what? It's happening all so fast. It's only been an hour since I posted this, but here we go. So my mom got in an argument with my stepdad once we got done talking about everything. My stepdad threatened to leave my mom if I didn't pay my sister back. My mom called me after that and told me about everything. I was livid because why would you do that? I understand that my sister is my stepdad's firstborn, but I'm also human. You were there with me from 3 years old till now. Now that everything has happened, I've also realized my stepdad has never cared about me, and I've decided to go no contact with him.
Dang.
So off with the stepdad.
All right. Okay.
My mom was very upset with what my stepdad did and what he was doing, and she caved in. She's paying my sister the money I supposedly owe her. I told my mom that she didn't have to, and if they were really going to take me to court, let them. But mom said no. She wasn't about to lose her kids and her husband because of this. She did reiterate to me that none of this was my fault, and I was doing what I thought was right. I'm extremely thankful to have my mom. But now, I feel even worse about the situation because of this. My fiance is livid as well, and he wants them to take us to court to show how stupid all of this is. I honestly don't know what to do. I just want all of this to stop. I'll probably hear more from my mom in the morning, so hopefully this all blows over and my mom doesn't actually pay her. Thanks, everyone.
Wow.
Update 2. So it's been 12 hours, and I found out a lot since I went over to my mom's. Apparently, the money wasn't my sister's. It was my stepdad's. And
Chat was right.
And my sister was taking the money from him without knowing. So that... Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Guess who finds out? Okay, I need the money back now. Please, please, please. I need the money back now. I need the money back now. Thief! It's a thief! Anna told me the reason she told me not to worry about paying her back is because she thought my stepdad wouldn't notice the missing $700. I'm sorry, what? I didn't think her having $700 was weird because she does work. She works at a family friend's restaurant and she gets paid decent. So I didn't think it was weird. She's been working there since she was 14, so she has her own money. After finding that out, Anna told me the reason my stepdad was threatening me with legal action was because Anna told him I stole the money. This is all making so much sense. My mom was furious with Anna and told her I will not be paying anything. This is all Anna's doing, and she knew it was wrong to steal from her father's money. My mom then asked what happened to all of her money. Why steal $700? Well, we found out Anna spent $1,200 on a present for my stepdad, which we found out later she bought him hunting gear and some dummies, and it left her with no money, and she wanted to go out and take me with her, so hence, stealing $700.
Girl, what?
We still haven't told my stepdad since he's at work, but Anna is begging we don't tell him. My mom says she doesn't care what Anna wants at this point. She just wants to clear this all up. I don't know how later tonight is going to go, but hopefully things go smooth. Here are some things I'd like to clear up as well. I do go to my mom's to spend time with my sisters majority of the week. I go 3 days out of the week, so it's not my sisters buying my time just to hang out with me. I just don't go out as much since I dash. I can work. However, since my surgery, I've been in a lot of pain, even after all this time. I walk with a horrible limp and sometimes do have to use a wheelchair due to my leg. Honestly, I think they effed up something. But with me starting physical therapy now, the pain will hopefully go away soon. My fiance is a welder and he makes good money, so I don't technically need to work right now, but I'm still dashing. I did say in the post that my fiance did find another job and I cut back on dashing. That's when I stopped seeking assistance. You need help with anything?
Yeah, I just don't know where I need to go to find more episodes of the podcast with stories just like this one.
Let me tell you. You have a favorite podcast platform?
I mean, like, it's like a 4-way tie between, I guess, Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube, and Apple Podcasts.
Well, fun fact, you can go on any of those platforms, search up OK Storytime, and you will seek all the help you can get with wise words of wisdom from people like you, me, Keon, Sam, Sophia, John, and Angie. Sometimes other people. That's all the help you need, buddy. You can cancel those therapy sessions now. Just listen to that.
What?
Yep.
You can be a bee.
I think this clears things up. Anna put herself in the hot seat here. 16-year-old girl. And now everyone knows her evil plans.
Yeah, I think this has crossed over the line of like intervention territory because it's like you're stealing from your dad, you're blaming it on your sister,
and you made a plan to blame it on your sister.
Yeah, and it was very like you knew what you were gonna do. It was, and it's look, there's a difference between being a thief and stealing. I think you can be a thief is someone who steals from a person, from a place, like from like someone's house, an individual.
Okay.
Stealing, you can steal from like I don't know. I'm not condoning stealing, but like the fact that she stole this from her dad and blamed her sister, and she didn't take like a T-shirt from Hot Topic, like that's not intervention territory. Saying. But stealing $700 from your own family and then blaming it on your sister, that's definitely like we need to make sure you don't do this.
Yeah,
for your whole life.
That was a thought-out plan there. Another thing, OP says, I will say, someone said this doesn't seem like the first time my stepdad has enabled my sister. It isn't. My stepdad has never really seen me as his child and ignored me most of my childhood. I rarely saw him. I live with my grandparents, and they passed away when I turned 18, which is when I moved out, which was contributing to it. My sister did in fact tell me I didn't have to pay her back. I thought I'd mentioned it, but I didn't, so I'm sorry. Later on, closer to when everything happened, is when she told me not to worry about it, so I should have noticed it. I didn't. Thank you everyone for the input. I'll update if anything happens tonight. We're going to get our best man on the case and see if there is any more updates, but I think that's the end of that story.
I think that's a freshie though, right? That one's pretty new.
Oh, this is pretty, okay,
that wasn't
we're
an
good
old
then.
one.
We're
I don't think, well, double check me. I think that's a new one.
Yeah.
But,
shoo.
Ooh, checkmate 6 days ago.
Yeah.
Dang. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So no more right now. We can keep eyes on this.
Yeah, we may be back
but
on that one.
Yikes. We looked under the rug and there was a thieving animal.
My mother-in-law dislikes me so much that she published a song about it.
Drop the SoundCloud.
It's a diss track. And this comes directly from the r/OK Storytime subreddit.
All right.
So my mother-in-law, 53 female, comes across as a flawless human. She's attractive, a professional singer, lives this unconventional hippie lifestyle that initially seemed appealing. She's constantly interacting with celebrities who take to her because she's very charming. She's married to a has-been drummer who was successful back in the day but hasn't worked a stable job in 20 years. Despite him living on government handouts, she still uses his past to massively prop up her ego. Ego is the word I most associate with her. She is the biggest self-absorbed person I have ever met and has gone out of her way to cause me immense amounts of harm. By the way, this comes from False Reward 1135. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, my mother-in-law and I used to have a good relationship before I fell pregnant. Despite my reservations, I agreed to move into the flat above hers prior to having the baby. It made sense as we got discounted rent due to her friendship with the landlord, and we thought we'd receive help when the baby came along. Moving into this flat was a mistake. When I was 7 months pregnant, she began keeping a journal, a log of all the things I supposedly did that could be considered harmful. The list was not very long, but included not letting my partner have a say in how we decorated the flat, which is true. What 27-year-old woman wants anime figures, Pokemon toys, and hundreds of DVDs on display in a cramped living room? And my tone of voice was off on several minuscule occasions I couldn't even recall. I overlooked this because I was more concerned about preparing for the baby, as you should be.
Yeah.
But I felt incredibly uncomfortable around her. When the baby eventually came, she was nowhere to be seen. The visits upstairs stopped, and we rarely saw her. The help promised was obviously not going to happen. Given that she homeschooled her then 7-year-old daughter, I was not too bothered and didn't judge her for her lack of support. I ignored the warning signs that my mother-in-law was troublesome and first recognized this when my baby was 6 weeks old. Being a new parent is hard, and being neurodivergent, it was particularly challenging for me. My family had bought my partner and me tickets to the Harry Potter studio tour. Before accepting the tickets, we cleared it with mother-in-law so she could take the baby that morning. We were to leave at 7:30 a.m. and be back for 2 at the latest. I was so excited to have a few hours with my partner to feel like us again. I told my mother-in-law this when I was alone the day before and opened up about my struggles with adapting to life as a mother. She was very reassuring and said getting to know the baby would be her pleasure. At 8 o'clock that evening, I received a message saying that she would not have the baby, that it was unreasonable of us to expect her to have such an early start, and that the baby that age should be with her mother. Thank you for telling them the night before.
Yeah, what?
Her opinions might be valid, but she shouldn't have agreed and changed her mind at the last minute, leaving us no time to find an alternative sitter who didn't share these views. We tried to reason with her, but it was a definite no. I felt played. She claimed she didn't hear me say the things I did about not coping with the baby, which I know was a lie. We ended up taking the baby with us, and I cried all the way around the tour. Why? Is it just because she's having these struggles with the baby?
Maybe.
Oh, she's
Or
just...
is it meant to say that the baby cried? But I kind of doubt it.
It says I cried.
Yeah.
I wonder, like, because you were having struggles with parenthood or something?
Yeah, maybe it was just stress of the situation and then having the baby with her.
Yeah.
Extra stress or something. I don't know.
Skip forward 7 months. My partner and I were awarded a government subsidized flat with 2 bedrooms. We'd been living in a 1-bed before this. The flat we were given was in a dangerous, dilapidated state with carpet spikes sticking out of the floor, and half the ceiling was caved in. Oh my gosh. It needed a lot of work before my little one, who was crawling then, moved in. My partner and I did not have the money to hire people and had no choice but to do the work ourselves. We were laying carpet and laminate, amongst other jobs, and only had 2 weeks to finish the work. My family were amazing and had the baby a lot during this time. My partner's family did not help. His uncle, the builder, taught us the skills we needed in an evening, but that was all the help we received. My mother-in-law had the baby twice the first week, but only for a few hours. We weren't making much progress. Then the second week came and she said she'd only have her from 2 o'clock onwards and only for an hour or so. She does not work and could have helped more. I challenged this and said it was only 2 or 3 more days as my family was doing the rest. She then said that it was affecting her daughter, who is the most selfish, entitled girl I've ever met, and that she would always come first, even over her granddaughter's safety. Girl, just keep them both safe.
Yeah.
Keep them both safe. I raised my voice at her and said, oh, F off with that. It's for 2 days. I'm not asking you to change your alternative lifestyle. She knew I was referring to her 11 a.m. wake-ups and late nights. She became very personal about my parenting, and I asked her to leave. Admittedly, I should not have sworn, but we were under so much pressure and we had no choice but to ask her. Anyhow, in response to this, at 10:30 that evening, whilst my baby was in bed, her horrible husband started smashing down our glass front door, trying to get to me.
What?
Police.
A break-in?
Police, ring, ring.
Oh my gosh.
We had to let him in to avoid a hefty bill if the glass broke. He started screaming, calling me names, asking who I thought I was, and making threats. I then threatened to call the police if he didn't leave. That evening, my partner received a message from his mom saying that she would support him in being a single parent and listed all the reasons he should leave me. He also received messages from other family members saying something similar. He needs to cut them off. or limit contact in a big way because no, you should not be subjected to this behavior.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That's like your safety is now involved there.
I went to my mom's, and a few days later, I had to drop the baby off to continue with renovations. Her partner took one look at me again on the shared lawn and started in front of his wife's 96-year-old grandmother. I ignored him and went to my flat with my partner. Mother-in-law followed. She apologized, saying her partner shouldn't have done what he did, but followed on with how I brought it on myself.
Ugh, girl.
That's a bad apology. We moved flats, and things improved. My partner and I focused on our independent lives together. The in-laws were in the picture, but we put them on the back burner. But unfortunately, tragedy struck just after my daughter's first birthday.
Uh-oh.
I developed a neurological condition overnight, which causes me to have seizures throughout the day. It affects my mobility. I need crutches at time and have huge amounts of unexplained pain.
Oh my gosh.
And had chronic fatigue due to the seizures and medications. Oh my God.
Oh my gosh.
These are just a few of the symptoms. My partner had to give up work to look after me. Given the situation, mother-in-law agreed to have the baby one afternoon a week to give me and my partner a break. This lasted a few weeks before she canceled most days because of other commitments she made for her daughter. She also used to have the baby one night a month so me and hubby could see friends. This support all stopped when she got a puppy. Girl can hardly take care of her daughter.
Yeah.
You don't need a puppy.
Oh my gosh.
Just take care of these children.
And then she's just going to be like, oh, you would never understand. Being a dog mom is so difficult.
It's so hard.
She's like a literal human mom. That's a bit more, I would say.
7 months we went without a break because she wasn't coping with the stress of having the dog. Why did you get the dog? You already have a kid. Take care of your kid.
This could have been so easily
Take care of your grandkid. What's going on? My family did what they could, but my mom developed her own health conditions during this time and is also a full-time carer for my severely special needs, double incontinent sister, so naturally support was limited. Yes, I was resentful that my daughter's needs were not being met. At the time, I couldn't meet them because of my health, and the person who could meet them best wouldn't because of a dog. I occasionally told my partner of my frustrations with his family, and we had more than a few arguments about them. So he's not even like on your side.
Yeah.
That's a huge problem. The fact that he's not even on your side.
Absolutely.
However, I tried not to let them steal my peace, and we got on with our lives to the best of our ability. Until my little one was taken to hospital, that is. My little one is severely asthmatic. She has been in and out of hospital for her breathing a lot since she was a baby. However, when she was 18 months old, she caught a chest infection. I booked her an emergency doctor's appointment because she really could not breathe. At the appointment, the doctor took one look at her and advised we go immediately to the A&E. I couldn't call my partner as it was his first official day of teacher's training, and if he did not attend that day and the next, he wouldn't be able to fully enroll in his course. My mom could not take me as she had my poorly autistic nephew from my other sister at hers, so my sister could work. I can't drive because of my seizures, and taxis don't really operate in my area because it's so rural and would have cost me over £100, which I literally did not have. So I called my mother-in-law. I explained that I needed a lift and the situation, to which she said, "No, I'm not taking you. I haven't slept," and hung up. It was so rude.
Oh my gosh.
If she couldn't take me, fair enough, but at least help me find a solution. But nothing, not even appropriate concern was offered. My mom left my nephew for me at home as my brother-in-law was going to leave work to go and collect him. He received disciplinary for this, and she took me to the hospital. It was worse than we expected. Little one was going to be staying overnight at the minimum. That night, my child crashed. A team came in at 2 a.m. and put her on further oxygen. She also had a canister in her hand so that emergency antibiotics could be administered. She was too young to understand and was scared. She constantly tried ripping her canister out and was asking for mommy, daddy, my mom, and her nan. The stress made my condition worse, and I was desperately trying to hide seizures from the staff. I begged my mother-in-law to come and support as my mom had already been in for 12 hours and daddy couldn't come. I needed him to pursue his training, so I didn't tell him the full details of her crash because I knew he would throw his opportunity to teach to be with us. Mother-in-law refused, saying her child had a cold.
Ugh.
The thing is, pausing, because lots of thoughts.
Yeah, a lot just happened.
You know you can't rely on your mother-in-law. You've known kind of this whole time. I think we need to stop reaching out to mother-in-law and expecting her to do something different.
Yeah.
You know, like she's more focused on her kid. Makes sense in a way.
Mhm.
Obviously, she's terrible for like going back on her word every time after she says that she'd
Yeah.
help out, not providing any of that help, being, you know, hostile.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like, you know that.
Yeah. I know, like, it sucks that as a family member, she's still doing this. And, like,
Yeah.
this is literally her grandchild. But, yeah, I agree. It's like,
Don't expect a pencil to
yeah.
be a gold bar.
But I guess it depends, too. Because, like, for this, like, when she asked to take them to the hospital, that was, like, a dire situation. And, like, no one else could.
Yeah.
Right?
She had her mom living next door, her partner at home, and her brother and his wife living opposite. Someone could have stayed and looked after the daughter. I had no one. I was so upset after 7 months of no support, a refusal to take me to A&E, and now this. I ended up messaging her saying that she was an actress, that she may talk the love talk, but knows nothing about it and has shown none through her actions. I called her self-absorbed and said she should stop having opinions on my relationship and have a closer look at her own. My partner was furious at me for the message and nearly left me, but we were able to work it through. What is going on with your relationship?
Yeah.
My daughter was meant to start nursery 3 mornings a week the week after. Because of my health, this was vital for me to function and for my daughter to have a quality of life. Mother-in-law was meant to do 1 pickup a week. Yeah, why are we including her in anything?
Yeah.
After the argument, she pulled out of the lift saying she will never give us regular help because she's scared of the I would give her if she couldn't. I'm not like that. She went on to say she will not put herself out so I could have a break and that children should not be in nursery. I refused to have anything to do with her after this and was very reluctant to let my little one see her either. I became banned from all family events and taken off every family group chat. I eventually caved and let my daughter see her grandmother because my partner threatened to leave me. Dude,
What?
if your partner's threatened to leave you over his just terrible mother,
Yeah.
maybe we ought to rethink this relationship.
Yeah. Maybe we need to let him.
Also,
It
why
sucks.
does he keep threatening to leave you?
Yeah. Like, you're just not doing anything wrong. They're putting all of the blame on
Yeah.
you, saying that you're going to them when it seems like it's the other way around.
Yep. My partner grew up with her as a single mother and was very protective over her and did not believe any maliciousness had taken place. He now sees the truth. Oh, switch up.
Oh,
Okay. And we've never been stronger.
okay.
However, he still has a relationship with his mom. After a few months, my mother-in-law made it on the news for a song she wrote about a particular situation. I can't give
what?
any more information to protect everyone's
Oh my God,
identity.
who is this famous woman?
She's some British lady.
What?
I wanted to see the success of the video, so went on YouTube where I found a song posted 3 days prior about me. In the song, she went on about how her son has pushed her away, how he's only staying with me to keep his baby safe, how I've ruined his dreams, how I take him for granted. He was my carer at the beginning and did do more around the house, and how this is not what she wants for him. I was so upset, and so was my partner. Everyone we mutually knew had seen the song. We asked her to take it down, but she wouldn't. It took my partner 3 weeks of arguments and a visit round to get the song down. But you can always visit our podcast if you go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio to listen to full episodes of stories just like this. Just search up OK Storytime. And there is a little bit left to this story. Do you have any final thoughts?
I just really want to know who this woman is, and I want to listen to this song.
And I want to know right now.
Yeah.
Someone find it out.
Someone
I bet you
put
could find it out. Like British singer, 50s, wrote a song about her son or whatever.
Yeah, I'm
think we
sure
could do it.
there's a way to figure
Married
this out.
to an old drummer.
Yeah,
There you go.
please.
That's your
Put it in the
information,
comments.
folks.
Oh boy. But yeah, this woman is wild. I wish so badly for her to be exposed. But yeah,
Yes.
good riddance. I'm glad that the partner is finally understanding, you know, how toxic the mom is being.
Yeah.
He still has a relationship, but that's kind of understandable. It's hard to just like go no contact all of a sudden. But still good that he knows to defend you now.
But there is a little bit left. So let's hit it. I later found out there was an alternative reason for my partner's visit. A 6-page letter of all the things we have put her and her partner through. And my sister refused to comfort our grieving mother. It made me angry.
But she's just a poor old lady. Help her.
Me, 26 female, and my sister, 28 female, have never seen eye to eye. And I get it, we're both adults and have our own lives, but we're both single and childless, so we have flexibility in our day-to-day. By the way, this comes from Personal Window 5728, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, Let me give some background knowledge and history between us. My sister, let's call her Sandra, has always been moody and a waking up on the wrong side of the bed person since we were 6 or 7. You never know when she'll be in a bad mood. She could be a sunshine, bubbly person in the morning and then aggressive next. I can't give specifics on us clashing without being obvious in case the rest of my family sees this post. But when we were teenagers, I would ask if she wanted something from the kitchen or if she needed more water. But then she would tell me, "You're being annoying. Leave me alone." Or, "That was stupid for you to ask." Which I'm like, the F? I'm just being courteous. But I'll be danged if I don't ask her either. If I don't ask her, she'll say, "It would have been nice to ask." Or, "What if I wanted something?" Worst part is that she'll hold a grudge, and the next time I ask her to fill up my cup, she'll say, "Like, who the F remembers stuff like that?" Also, my whole life, it's had to be Sandra's way or no way. When it came to back to school shopping, I would tell my parents ahead of time that I needed a pair of jeans and shoes. But then all of a sudden on payday, Sandra would also need jeans and shoes. Then my parents would take me aside and ask, "Can you wait until next payday?" Just to avoid Sandra throwing a tantrum. If she didn't get her wish first, then the guilt trip starts with things that aren't relevant. "But OP got a video game last month." It was a reward for getting straight A's. "But OP got a ride in the front seat on the way to the mall." We rotated and took turns, so she was getting front on the way back. "Why does OP get to take the car? My friends want to go bowling, and I said I would drive." I asked a week ago to borrow the car because I was going to the library for an ACT study group.
Okay, why are the parents so afraid to say no to this child?
Yeah.
No, just no. Cause we said so.
Right.
Pull a parentism and just say, "'Cause I said so."
Because I said so.
You can
Yeah.
do that.
Ma-
You're allowed.
It makes no sense at all. Are you scared to make this child upset because
Yeah,
they're
they're
gonna
like,
throw a tantrum?
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
like,
literally.
We can't say no to her.
They're like, "Oh my god, the only thing we can do to get her to shut the F up is to just give her
Give her
what
everything.
she wants."
Give
And
her
that's
literally
what we're gonna
everything.
do because we're gonna give up on parenting her.
Yep. She's weirdly obsessed with money being spent on the two of us too. When we went clothes shopping, I would get 2 to 3 items of clothes because I really wanted some new sneakers, while Sandra would get a pile of clothes. Monetarily, it would be like $75, me to her $200. But if I got new shoes, she'd start whining and say, "Why does OP get new shoes and I don't?" Which, of course, she also got shoes. Also, now that I'm thinking about it, in school, I always had to get A's, no exceptions, while she was praised for B's and C's. I also remember saving my allowance money, $20 every 2 weeks, for gas money, where my sister would always ask for money whenever she needed it. Now, the issue is our parents, that's obvious, decided keeping her mood up and happy was the priority because we didn't want to deal with the backlash. That's what you said. Which brings us to today. And now they're in their mid-20s, guys. This seems
Goodness
like she
gracious.
should have grown out of it.
Yeah, because that stuff did seem like it was teenager stuff
Yeah.
at that point. But still, like, the first thing would be kind of like a haha funny teenager, like just that one.
Yeah.
But with everything
Everything
on
else?
top of that,
Exhausting.
Yeah, I am actually seeing this happen in real time life with someone back home.
really.
It's just crazy to see how out of hand their sibling has gotten because their parents have just given them anything they wanted.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
spoiling your kids. It doesn't do them any service.
Honestly.
Oh, biggest thing was that my parents would always tell me to walk away when having a stupid sister argument with Sandra. Me, only me, had to walk away. And then when I did walk away, Sandra would follow me all the way to my room and either walk into my room and wouldn't leave, or would continue to yell at me outside of my door. And my parents would just let it happen and wouldn't tell her to go to her room or punt her out of my room. At 28 years old, she's still the same. I'll be danged asking her if she wants to get lunch, and instead of just saying, "Sorry, I already have plans," or just a "no thanks," Sandra will say, "No, I already have lunch plans. Quit asking me. You're being annoying." Like, I asked you one time. This girl is aggressive. Or I'll call her on the way to our parents' house and asking if she wants a soda or tea. Where 1, she usually rejects my calls to keep talking to her best friend, or 2, she'll answer and say, "That's it." She's also always been a hangry person and has just done nothing to take accountability for her hangry self. Like, how am I supposed to know if you're hungry and if you've eaten something recently? Today was just something else. Our mother told us that her cousin passed away. I didn't immediately get to our mom until a couple hours later, but I texted her right away. I'm sorry for your loss. Please remember to drink water and get some rest. Sandra didn't say anything. Shocker. When I realized which cousin passed away, I went to my mom's house because no one should grieve alone. I was updating the family while sitting with my mom, and then my mom finally punted me out to take her medicine and fall asleep. I decided to call my sister on the way home. She didn't answer the first time. Figured she was doing something, whatever. She calls back, and this is how the convo goes. What's up? Oh, well, Mom's going through it, and tomorrow I'm taking her to her sister's to grieve. Oh, is that all? This could have been a home conversation. You're stopping me from getting dinner right now. OP. Oh, really? Well, Mom was asking about you, and I said you were busy right now. I realized in hindsight I probably should have just hung up when she mentioned dinner and dealt with her being mad because I hung up. Can you give Mom a call or text later? Are you suggesting to me or telling me? OP. I mean, Mom was asking about you, so I think she would like the support from both of her daughters. So? That's not my problem. I don't have the mental or physical capability to deal with a crying mom right now. I asked my sister why she is so angry and aggressive in this conversation. If you're in a bad mood or trying to get food, why'd you call me back? I told her this is the reason why I say you're bad at communicating, because you can just say, now's a bad time, or I'll talk to you at the house. Just something instead of, it's going to be a home conversation and you're wasting my time. Being single and childless, I don't understand the wasting her time thing, because it's always her time. Anyways, I made the mistake of taking out my anger on my dad when I got home. I said, what is wrong with your other daughter? Why is she such a crappy person? We literally grew up in the same household with the same parents. Why can't she contact her mom who is grieving right now? I also said she has a horrible personality. My friends know how horrible she is based on her actions alone. What I really wanted to say and scream at my parents is, because they enabled her mean personality and bratty behavior, she's stuck like this. A 28-year-old who cares more about seeing friends every weekend than seeing her family once a year. We live in about 8 different states in total. Then complains about why she wasn't invited to a family event. We did, you were in the group chat, which she has muted, and never engaged in the family plans. I'm seeing a therapist to work on accepting who she is and to not try to push my morals and expectations onto her. But these were the expectations and morals we were raised on. And I'm constantly blamed for her bad mood. I see where I'm wrong in this, but like, come on. I don't think it's a bad mood. I think at a certain point, if that's just who you are.
Yeah, honestly, it's like, okay, well, if you're saying that you just get hangry, we've got 3 meals a day, dude. That's a lot of time that you got to be waiting for that meal.
Yeah.
Okay? So, I mean, I get it. You might not always be like hungry in between the meals, but 3 times a day to just be hangry, that's not the food's fault.
It's too
anymore.
many.
That's too many.
And if this has been going on since you were 6 years old,
Yeah.
that's just you, girl.
That's just you.
That's just
it.
your
You
personality.
problem. Yeah.
By the way, your personality can be listening to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. Got a little bit left of the story, but do you have any final thoughts?
Yeah, I just think that's so frustrating. I mean, like, it sucks, too, that it's just them two. They don't have any other siblings.
Yeah.
So it's not like, they can have, like, the other siblings that aren't the favorite to be like, this is their favorite sibling. Because, like, I feel like that would help, too. But it's literally just, like, OP against the whole fam.
OP against the world, man.
Yeah.
And her sister's bad mood.
Yeah, literally.
10-year bad mood. Oh, no, even longer. 20-year bad mood.
Dude, that's crazy.
Basically.
You gotta punch the highlights out of her hair. I was thinking OP against world, and then I'm thinking this girl is like the 7 evil exes, but all in one. And then I know that wasn't one of the 7 evil exes, but still, it was just a great line from that movie.
I don't need advice on how to handle Sandra. You're danged if you do, and you're danged if you don't. I guess I'm wondering if there are others dealing with people like this in their life. Some agreement that morally, that normal thing to do is to reach out with grievances. Some empathy of having a craphead sister. If someone had enabling parents like mine, did you ever have that hard conversation with your parents That your sibling is a crappy human because they let her get away with everything. Or simply, was there any harm in calling my sister to update her despite texting updates to the family beforehand? Am I overreacting to her not calling her mother? I really can't make her do anything. Maybe some advice on how to accept her behavior and personality. Seriously, am I overreacting? And there is an edit. My sister and I never met our mother's cousin. We just know they were very close, like sisters. My mother's cousin passing did not have an emotional effect on us. I just feel for my mom and want to support her because grief is very hard and you're a nice person.
Yeah.
You want to be there for your mother.
My sister-in-laws dislike me because I stole their brother.
Just snatch them right out of their home? What'd you do here?
What do you do when your in-laws, quite literally, hate you? I met my husband about 3.5 years ago in Anchorage, Alaska, where I was stationed in the Air Force. His family lived a 3-hour drive from us, and I met them for the first time a couple of months after we met. I loved them all, and especially his mom. She seemed so nice. You know what else is nice? The fact that this story comes from user Vitani88. And if you want to submit your own your own stories, go to r/OK Storytime. I'm Riley.
I'm Carly.
And boy, let me tell you, we're here to give good advice goofily.
We
but
are.
We don't have all the answers. We
True.
simply don't. We only know what we would do, so let us know what you would do in those comments. He has 3 sisters. The sisters are as follows. One is currently 15, one 19 or 20, and one nearing 30. The youngest sister, Sue, seemed a little odd, but she was very young. The middle sister, Wilma, seemed like kind of a witch from the start. My then boyfriend had always had issues with her. She was his father's only biological child. The rest were artificial insemination babies, and always felt entitled. The older sister, Jess, was always easy to get along with. 5 months into our relationship, I found out my boyfriend had been talking to a woman online, and I broke up with him. A month later, we began dating again, and things were never the same. His mom purposefully embarrassed me whenever she got the chance. One example was when we went to visit her. At this time, I was dealing with acne problems associated with a food allergy. My boyfriend went out to their storage unit for about an hour, and I stayed with her. Then the 3 sisters emerged. Immediately after they came into the room, she asked me if I had tried Proactive yet and offered me some. I was mortified. Wilma decided to publicly come out as a witch. Wilma called me out on my Facebook page, accusing me of turning her brother against the family and basically told me she hated me. I promptly blocked her, and we haven't spoken since. We were married last December in Florida and invited the family with the exception of Wilma. Fiance made it very clear that she was not to be at the wedding or any of the wedding events. We got married at Disney World, and planned to spend a day with the families in the Magic Kingdom and requested that Wilma find another location to spend the day since her mom insisted on bringing her. The wedding came, and his mom, Wilma, and Sue came. We met his mom and Sue in the Magic Kingdom, and you would have thought they were literally in heck. They acted like they hated every second of it. He stuck me on a 10-minute dark ride with his sister, and I tried to talk to her. She refused to answer anything I said, acknowledging me only with nods or smirks. That night was our rehearsal dinner. His mom and Sue were nowhere to be seen. We waited and waited, called, and found out that they had stayed late at the Magic Kingdom. They showed up over an hour late, and Sue refused to eat. Wilma was waiting in the car. The next day was the wedding day. His mom and Sue showed up at my local hotel room. His mom and Sue showed up at my hotel room and ended up waiting in the lobby because they didn't want to be in the room with my mom and I. At the wedding, after the ceremony, they refused to come out and greet us as a new couple. People literally had to maneuver around them to get to us. They separated themselves from my family during the first dance and cake cutting. They left without a word to me. At our reception dinner, Sue again refused to eat, and his mom refused to speak. They also showed up late and wearing blue jeans. My husband chased them down and told them they needed to tell me goodbye. He caught them halfway to their car. They did not take their wedding favors, and his mom left her corsage laying on the table. They declined to come to our post-wedding brunch. Since the wedding, his mom has apologized to my mom, but not to either of us. Sue's birthday was in August, and I tried to send her a gift card via Facebook. I noticed she had me partially blocked. Today, I noticed she's deleted me completely from her page. My husband hates that his family can't stand me, and we don't understand why. We have not seen them since December and have no plans to see them in the foreseeable future. I do not get a response as to why they dislike me so much. Any update, please? I'll tell you why. It's because you broke up with their son. And I'm not saying that you're in the wrong for doing that, but like that is, to me, from the evidence put forth, the most likely reason.
You think it's from that? From the OG breakup back in whenever.
And again, they're not right for that. But like the timeline kind of matches up, and that like they were all nice to her, and then her husband was talking to somebody else online. Or at the time, boyfriend.
Yeah.
She breaks up with him, but then they decide, okay, like maybe let's get back together, work this out. And then after that is when they're mean to her.
Plus Wilma, who's just got a chip on her shoulder.
Yeah. Yeah. Can I say, Wilma, seems like that naturals didn't do much for you.
Just getting you booted from weddings.
And just if you're the only one who was not artificially like brought about by artificial insemination, but you're also the only one that was naturally not chill. I don't know.
Maybe the artificial was the way to go.
There's an update. After 10 long months of waiting, we finally got an email from his mother. In a nutshell, no apology was mentioned. I sent a long email to her, told her that I'm tired of the way her family treats me and my husband, that she is wrong, and that we have no intention of associating with her family until things change drastically. At first, she flat out refused to even read my email. My husband told her to stop being so disrespectful to his wife, so she said she read it and will be putting a letter in the mail for us. Meanwhile, Sue had deleted me off Facebook, and I sent her a message asking her what her problem was with me and what I have ever done to deserve the way they treat me. The response was, "To answer your question, you're just a witch. You were mean to Wilma, and anyone that is mean to her isn't going to be liked by any of us, especially me. Just because I unfriended you on Facebook isn't any implication of my feelings towards you. Although you're right, none of us can stand you at all. Get over it." I was mean to Wilma because she publicly called me a witch on Facebook. The meanness was calling her a witch back, blocking her, and declining to send her Christmas presents after. I responded to Sue by explaining the above, reminding her that I am now a part of the family and will be around for a while, and telling her that as long as they continue to treat me like a pile of crap, her relationship with us will be essentially non-existent. Her response, "Maybe if you actually got over yourselves and made an attempt to be around me, you'd know what's been going on. But neither of you care, and as long as you're even breathing, I don't want anything to do with either of you. You ruined my family. I hope you're proud of yourself." I asked why I would want to be around someone who treats me the way she does, and asked her what exactly we have done to her other than getting married to each other. Her response, "If you actually took some time and thought about all the crap you've done to my family, you'd see why we treat you like this. You treat us 10 times worse and expect us to apologize like it's all our fault. You need to get over yourself and realize what a crap person you are." OP asked her again what we have done to her or her family. She replied by saying, "If I didn't know, I didn't deserve an explanation." This was my second thing, is like, I don't like when people do this. When people are like, "You should know what you've done," or like, da-da-da. It's like, no, if you really have problems with the behavior, then you need to be like, and it's hard because at the same time, it's like, the itemized list can be overwhelming when people are like, "You did this, you did this, you did this." But I feel like there's a nice middle ground.
Yeah.
We can
I would
find the
also
middle
say,
ground.
though, if they have explained it to someone before, and in this case, they have not explained it to you. If people do this to you and you have explained it before, it's totally also within your right to be like, "I have told you so many times." In this case, though, OP does not have a list.
Yeah, there is no list. I told her that meant she had no explanation. She replied, "I hope you're effing happy with yourself. I know I won't be until you've passed away." Followed by, "None of us want to have any communication with you after what you two have done. And if it wasn't for you, nothing would have ever been ruined at all. How are you so stupid that you actually put the blame on my family? I hope you know that because of you, my life has been torn apart. Thanks for effing everything. I can't wait for you to pass away. The world will be happier then." I replied by asking her again what I had done to her. I told her that if she told me what we have done that was so horrible, maybe we could work on fixing it. Her reply, "We're not going over this again. Bye." That's the thing with like these people, is like you can't.
You're not going to reason with them
You're
at
not.
this point. And she's a teenager.
Yeah. My husband spoke to his mom about this, and she made excuses about how Sue is hurt, and that's why she said these things. Apparently, her mother forced her to apologize because several hours later, I got a sorry in my inbox. There is an edit. My husband has had problems with Wilma for many years before we even met and did not speak to her at all when we first met. I spent 2 years trying to get them to talk, but she was repeatedly rude to both of us. When we began planning our wedding, I attempted to get my husband to invite her. I told him that she was his sister and he would regret not having her there in the future. He did not want her there. This feud predates.
This is crazy.
Yeah.
Full no contact.
Yeah.
I'm going to remain that way for the rest of the story now. Like, I don't think there's anything that's going to change
Yeah.
my mind on go no contact.
Yeah. There's an update. Many people think that the reason his sisters hate me is related to my breaking up with him 3 years ago. He had been talking to another woman online and continued to do so after I confronted him about it. We broke up for about 3 weeks, and he told his family what had happened. They may now see me as an intruder in their lives. We are both emotionally exhausted with the whole situation and are ready for something to change. I have recognized that the way I treated the situation with Sue was wrong and immature. I should not have engaged a 15-year-old over something so trivial as finding I had been deleted from Facebook. I spoke to my mother-in-law last night about why Sue said the things she did. She told me that my husband used to be very involved with Sue and then he met me and dropped her. This is not what happened. My husband is a grown man, met me, married me, and moved to a new place. It was nothing against her or anyone else in the family. Before we left Alaska, we used to camp and fish with her, but she never talked to us and acted miserable. She also refused to speak to my husband during the weekend of our wedding. Sue made the comment that we never make an effort to talk to her, so my husband has decided to call Sue sometime over the next week. He feels that he needs to explain to her that he still loves her very much, and his marrying me was not because he no longer loved her. He wants her to know that he still loves her, but does not know how to spend time with her because she will not talk to him. He's also going to explain that I am his wife now and she cannot speak to me like she has been. I will say,
Yes.
you can listen to full episodes with stories just like this if you go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app and search OK Storytime.
Now, I will say, that sounds to me fully like when you came into her life, Sue was probably 12, maybe. And she probably, if she's 15, 16 now, I assume they're dating for a little bit.
I don't know. It's hard because it says.
Either way,
15,
she came in her life. She's preteen, teen. Husband did used to do things with her. She probably hit those teenage years. Typical teenager, stopped talking as much. You came around. She feels as though her brother's being taken away because he moves and everything. She's looking for a place to blame. She's going to blame you. She's a typical teenager. That one may be salvageable if husband does actually like call her up and say,
Yeah.
hey, let's actually like talk this out. I don't know. I'm so very torn on this.
Yeah.
Because she's also still being horrible. But if she actually genuinely is learning and any form of sorry is genuine from her and she stops listening to Wilma as much, like, I think that one could maybe be
Yeah.
some sort of a relationship.
I feel like this is one where it kind of now goes past the OP and kind of is like up to the husband of like,
Right.
okay, well, like how much
Fully.
of this relationship with your sibling?
Yeah.
So
Do you want to salvage stuff with Sue? Are you like, yeah,
I guess we shall see because
We
there is an
shall.
update.
great.
Regarding Wilma, we've decided to send her a card at Christmas. My husband still refuses to spend money on her, but I've convinced him to reopen the lines of communication in case she ever decides she wants to be a part of our family. My husband is still holding out hope for an apology from his mother. He was extremely hurt by her behavior at our wedding. Regardless of her feelings about Wilma not being invited, she is the mother and it is her job to be the bigger person. I am sure the girls hate me for taking their brother away. I'm sure whatever was said about our breakup 3 years ago did not help the situation. I cannot do anything about those things, but I will not be feeding into any more drama regarding.
Okay. Yeah. OP,
That's the story.
you go no contact. Husband can try to mend the relationship with Sue if he wants to.
Yeah. I will say, like, I hope, because OP seems to be like I think it is a very big person thing to send that card to Wilma,
Yeah.
and I hope that she is rewarded and not punished for that. Because I think I'm with you where it's like, I don't know that I would have done that. Like, it seems like Wilma is like,
I
a
think she'll just
problem.
be ignored.
that's kind of like where I'm at. But I hope that, like,
And if you're,
I hope it doesn't come back to bite her.
if you're ignored, accept the fact that you're ignored. Let's not reach out. Let's not do anything else.
Yeah.
I discovered messages on my wife's old phone, and now I'm feeling guilty.
I turn the flashlight on. I say, where were you last night?
As per the subject, I know I am at fault for reading my wife's old messages. I was tasked with clearing the Apple account on an old device, and while doing so, I curiously looked at some old texts.
Yeah, right, buddy. You knew exactly what you were doing. You knew what you were doing.
Now I know things that I don't know how to move forward from.
Oh, no.
By the way, this comes from throwaway 345345435. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. For context, my wife, 40 female, and I, 41 male, have been together for around 8 years. Prior to our relationship, my wife was married and living in America. I was told her husband had a drinking problem and was harmful. She returned to Australia after divorcing, and we were set up by mutual friends around 4 months later. I was aware at the time that my partner had been on a couple of other dates with a guy who owned a local coffee shop, but apparently the dates fizzled. My wife and I have a pretty good relationship for the past 8 years, and we have 2 children together. I have never had reason to be jealous. My wife always seemed fairly conservative, spicily, and in the early stages of our relationship, I remember it being nearly 2 months in before we had spicy sleep. However, with access to the old phone, I was curious to read how my wife described me to her friends. I was fairly shocked when reading through the message history from that time period to see that while early into our dating phase, my wife was clearly involved spicily with the guy from the coffee shop.
Oh no.
In fact, it reads as though this guy was clearly the one my wife preferred, but she ended up settling for me when his interest didn't seem to go beyond spicy sleep. However, the overlap of the obviously spicy related relationship goes for around 2 months into a period where I would have considered my wife and I a couple. Comparing dates to text history on my phone, there is one particular date where I had organized dinner during the week. I remember taking her out and dropping her home by 10 p.m. Around 30 minutes later, she wrote to the coffee shop guy, "Come over." He simply responded, "Okay." Winky face.
Winky face.
I get that this is probably normal in modern dating for people to be juggling a few possible contenders.
Yeah.
This is my issue to deal with.
They call it the roster.
The rasta. But I am certainly surprised at this point. However, it doesn't end there. It turns out there is an entirely separate thread from another person named Joe who is based in the US. Around 1 year into the relationship with my wife, Joe is sending messages professing his love for my wife. From what I can tell, my wife and Joe hooked up while she was living in the US. That seems like more certain that it's into your actual official relationship.
Yeah, that seems like it was probably during.
Yeah, yikes. Because the other one, it could have been it was, a little bit unclear. It sounds like Joe is a little bit more certainly.
That was a whole baby's time into your relationship at that point.
Yeah. This is referred to as one of the main reasons my wife ended up divorcing, as her husband at the time found out. Oh, wait, what?
Yeah, wait, what? Whose husband?
Based in the...
What?
Oh, wait. I think Joe was a guy. So she was messaging him while she was in a relationship with OP, but with this guy, Joe, who ended their old relationship. Ended her relationship with her ex-husband.
Oh.
Yeah. I think that's what she's saying. What I read describes a whole different scenario to how my wife became divorced and moved back to Australia. Despite these messages being 12 months into my relationship with my wife, she is clearly very forward with Joe. My wife mentions to him that she wished she could go back in time to when she was still in America. That's not good. That's pretty bad.
Yeah.
She says to him that if he had been as forward with her back then, things would have turned out different. She even said she found him so hot she didn't trust herself around him. So here I am feeling guilty for having exploited my wife's privacy. I know this was wrong, but now I know what I know and I feel like crap but I can't even bring it up because the focus would be on what an a-hole I am for reading the messages. Do I just need to accept that we've been together long enough that the things that occurred when the relationship was newer shouldn't affect us going forward? There are comments. There is an update. But what do you think, Dakota?
I think your gut is telling you.
Yeah.
What you already know.
You know, she cheated on you, dude. It doesn't matter if it was 8 years ago. She cheated and then lied about it for 8 years. Regardless of what she did with that first guy when you guys were dating or not dating, we don't know. She was talking to Joe flirtatiously a year into the relationship, saying that she wished that she could go back to having this relationship with him. That's not okay.
Pretty bad vibes from that.
Yeah. Comments. Comment 1 says, honestly, I don't care about supposed modern dating scene normality. Inviting a guy over after your date is just the biggest ick ever. You know, she's also a liar and a cheat. I'd have punted her to the curb before you were even able to type this post.
I feel like that's actually way more common than that commenter is trying to make it out to be.
Is it?
I would assume.
of like back-to-back dates.
Well, because imagine you're like, man, I really can't like figure out like who's better.
Yeah.
What better way to figure it out than to have 2 dates on the same day?
The thing is, I wouldn't have like, if that was the only thing that she did and it was before the relationship was official, I wouldn't have been like, break up with her. But we know she like for sure cheated. So
Right. If she's going on dates while you're already together,
that's cheating. That's cheating.
that's not playing the field.
Yeah.
That's cheating.
Yeah. Comment 2, all of this information came from her old phone. Why don't you try looking for her new phone? Maybe there's more. Good luck, brother. Comment 3, talk isn't going to fix this, so she doesn't need to know what you know or how you know it. Your challenge is simply to assess accurately whether the relationship still makes sense, now that you have a more accurate picture of what it is based on. If you ever imagined that being with you had driven all thought of being with other men out of her mind, then that illusion has to be gone. If at 40 her options are no longer all that good and are unlikely to improve, then you may be able to keep her.
What?
That's
What?
weird. That's a weird response.
That sentence disqualifies everything that this commenter says because that's nonsense goober talk.
Comment 4, what you described is normal in the dating scene, but that doesn't mean you have to be okay with it.
That is true. That's a good one.
Especially considering y'all were basically a couple. Why are you feeling guilty? I think you have every reason to be concerned, considering now you know what happened with your wife's divorce. You could be next. And that's a valid concern, especially when you know you were the one she settled for. No one here can tell you what you should do, but me personally, I wouldn't be able to stay, lol. Quote, oh, but it's been 8 years. What if she hasn't lied in a while? Okay. What if she has? There's no way to know. And my mind wouldn't be able to deal with that potential. And there is an update.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy. But do you have any thoughts?
It's all about the timeline.
It's all about the timeline.
It's all about the timeline.
I mean, like, we know it seems unclear whether or not they were officially dating with the first guy, the coffee shop guy.
Yeah.
That's a little bit unclear. We know for a fact that a year into the relationship, she's talking to Joe and at least emotionally cheating.
But we know also, do we know for a fact how her previous relationship ended?
We know well, it seems like OP is implying that her previous relationship ended because of Joe.
Right. Because
So we know that they have a
and-
past.
Joe and her.
Joe and her are cheating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
given that it's happened once, would it be crazy if it happened again?
No. Update. Okay, so I brought this up with my wife in bed last night. It started out as I expected. She was furious that I looked at her messages. I stated that I wasn't proud of this, but it's not something I'd ever felt I should do previously, and I never expected to read what I did.
See, now I get being like, ew, gross. What, you read my messages?
Yeah.
That's like gross. But being furious, it's like, okay, so
Yeah,
I
let's
was
move
right
past
though,
that.
right? I was right because you're furious.
Yeah.
So what's there that you just can't let me see?
I'll address what was talked about in each issue. Coffee shop guy. So she acknowledged they did have spicy sleep once. However, she said he had no interest in her, which is why she proceeded to set up dates with me. She said that she absolutely did not have spicy sleep with him once we started dating, but they did remain friends. A little bit. I don't think that's necessarily super bad unless depending on like how close the friendship was. Apparently he helped her look for her unit she had purchased, and her asking him to come around was to show him the unit.
His unit.
I don't know if I believe that.
What kind of unit?
She's adamant they did not have spicy sleep. Again, I have no idea what to believe. That
Liar.
was such a lie.
She's a liar.
I think you should point out like, oh, he was helping you look at a unit at 10:30 p.m.
Which is not a thing that happens.
Yeah. No. Crazy. However, to add more context to this guy, I could see in the text conversation that it did fizzle out. The small talk conversations did cease altogether about 3 months after I began seeing my wife. Again, if you guys were official and they were still talking, that's...
I don't know. It's just seeing. Is that official?
I don't know. I don't know. That's why I'm asking.
I don't know.
That's why I'm asking if you were official. Adding to this, coffee shop guy actually passed away unexpectedly about 2 years later.
Well, that takes care of itself.
Ouch. This was something I was aware of. As for Joe, my wife recalled him texting her after she had returned to Australia. She stresses they never had spicy sleep in America, but she acknowledges she did kiss him. Sorry, in America. This was pre their relationship, which created all the drama with her previous husband. She began saying that when she was responsive to his text, this was before our relationship.
So let me get this straight. She's trying to say, no. We just did a little. Mwah.
We kissed and
didn't
that broke
have
up my
the
marriage.
Spicy. That's what ruined my marriage. I would never sleep with another man. I would just kiss him.
I simply mentioned that the texts are time-stamped and it was around 10 months into our relationship. She keeps lying. He literally has all the proof and she keeps lying.
Nah, dude, you've got the pudding, bro. Throw it.
I guess the story changed from there to saying that she had low self-esteem after her marriage and that this guy was forward to her in a way no one else was. So knowing he was on the other side of the world, she flirted back for the validation and confidence boost. I guess in a way I can accept this. As per the coffee shop guy's message, this message thread also fizzled out, my wife being the one to stop responding. I explained how hurt I felt and that I feel like this confirms I really was just settled for. I'm not out to judge someone's spicy history. That, again, is not the point. She cheated on you during the relationship.
Yeah.
But when you feel like your own partner has never really been particularly forward in a spicy way, it's demoralizing to read. And no, they were previously much more promiscuous. Girl. To answer some other questions raised in the comments, my kids are mine. My wife treats me fine, has been a rock for me in a relationship. Some personal circumstances affected me massively at a midpoint in a relationship, and she stood by me, as did her family.
Did she stand by you or did she cheat on you?
Yeah. Despite being surprised at the texts from the very start of our relationship, I do actually believe her when she says she has definitely never been with anyone else since we've formally been a couple. By the way, you should never listen to anyone else. Just listen to full episode stories just like this on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio. Just search up OK Storytime.
Don't listen to anyone.
Don't listen to anyone else.
Not your parents.
Nope, just us. There is a little bit left to this story. I fear that OP is going to stay in this relationship based off of those last sentences. However, I need him to remember that she just lied to him. She literally, he asked her, he showed proof and said, hey, says that you were talking to this guy 10 months into our relationship. What's up with that? And she said, no, I didn't do that. And then he called her out and she said, oh, well, yeah, I did do that. Like, she's lying to you.
But there's kids, which makes it harder to be like, I should leave.
Absolutely.
Stuff,
but I think that he cannot, it seems like he's pushing it under the rug, like he's believing her lies.
Yeah, the fact that she's lying so poorly.
Yeah, like you have to address those lies. Even if in the end you stay together because of the kids, those lies still need to be addressed.
She's probably just going to cheat better next time if you stay with her.
Potentially, yeah.
She's just going to cheat better. She's going to go, I've taken my notes. I know what works and what doesn't. Here we go.
But there's a little bit left to this story. I know there have been lots of comments saying I should simply leave. While a lot of damage has been done, it feels hard to consider throwing my life away and resigning to one of shared care with kids and being broke. I appreciate the comments that understand this aspect. Also, I'm 42. I know nothing about the current dating world other than knowing I wouldn't fare very well. I know a lot of the issues going over my head stem from my own feelings of being an inadequate man. I keep fit, but I'm nerdy. I was never that popular with girls and I've only had a few spicy related partners. I know in the past my own inadequacies and insecurities have created issues in a relationship, but I guess I feel what I read confirmed and justified how I feel. And that is the end of that story. Wow.
Didn't really reach any point of finality there, did we?
Nope. It seems like OP is thinking about staying, though. I think that's kind of where he's at. Wow. But I think absolutely go to therapy and like sort out these lies because she hasn't told you the truth. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But folks, that's the end of that story and the end of this episode. So if you love us, make sure to subscribe.
We love you
and
see you tomorrow.